refuse to move in with my fiance's family again. I'd rather leave him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm imagining like the family from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah,
4 grandparents, 1 bed.
Too much. For starters, this is mostly for advice and to rant a little because I'm tired and I can't take this anymore. I want to know genuinely if I am being crazy and a witch or not. And sorry, this is going to be a long one. I, 23 female, and my fiance, 27 male, have been together for 5 years, and I had chased him for 6 months before we officially got together. Story for another time. Lot to unfold there. Please send it in. By the way, this comes from DarkyMoo01 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, in the past, I've always had a bad relationship with my significant other's parents from the start. Either I wasn't good enough or smart enough, not their type of pretty, etc. So when I knew I liked this man and he was going to introduce me to his family, I was nervous that they wouldn't like me for another thing that I can't control and this relationship wouldn't work. Oh, and I didn't mention before, but I am a textbook people pleaser. So when I met his family and mother, and they all seemed to like me, I was relieved to finally feel welcomed by a family that could potentially be my in-laws, and it really gave me the confidence to go forward with this relationship and focus on us and not why his family hated me for once. So about a year into our relationship, things hit a snag. His ex-wife tried coming back.
Uh-oh.
I had a miscarriage. And some other things, it's a lot not that relevant. It's more like character building. Moving on. Oh my goodness. And when we got through that, the vid hit and everything shut down. Wow. That's when it started. His family wanted to move, and since we were living in a mother-in-law suite on the property, we had 2 choices from here. Find our own place ASAP or help them get the house on the market and move, and we could move with them. I hated the place I grew up, so naturally when he said that he would like to move in with them, I agreed. On one condition. The place they were looking at was a building with 2 living residences, and a hall with 4 big rooms, 2 bathrooms, a laundry room, but it is halfway across the country from my family. I have never been more than 30 minutes from my family, and the thought of being so far from them scared me beyond belief, but I love this man and want to start a life with him wherever he chooses to be. The condition was that we got one of the living residences if we helped his parents sell the house and move there, to which they agreed. So the plans were set into motion, and it took us quite a bit longer than we preferred to sell the house. The reason being, his mom. She had no sense of urgency once things were in motion to get the house ready to go on the market, and when it came time to pack, they waited until the very last second possible to pack, making things way more chaotic than they needed to be, considering that it was her idea to move in the first place. To add to that, we caravanned in 3 cars down to the new place in the middle/end of May, so it was hot, and my fiance's car didn't have AC. That would have been fine had our predicted 2-day drive not taken us a week to get down there. Why is it that you might ask? Well, you guessed it, his mom, yet again. She insisted that we stopped and find a hotel the second the sky started changing colors because the sun was getting ready to set, and in the morning, instead of leaving bright and early, we all had to go get something to eat per her wishes, and we never actually got back on the road until after 9 most days. Now, mind you, everyone else was fine because their cars had working AC, so they had no problems on the ride. My fiance and I, however, had 3 cats in the back, a car full of our stuff, and no AC in 98 degrees. Wow, is that safe? That does not feel safe.
If you get the windows open, might be all right.
I was stuck in traffic one time, like stopped in traffic in the heat, and my car didn't have AC, and then I got to work and I almost fainted. So I'm worried about these guys and those cats. So we did not like wasting all this time not driving when they knew that we would be miserable, and so would the cats. I love my cat like she's family and got rather annoyed that after the 3rd day of stopping before the sunset and still being over 500 miles out, I was continuously being told that we don't have time to find a pet-friendly hotel. So by the time we got here, I wasn't letting the cats go out as much to go to the bathroom and eat and drink because I just wanted to get to our new place and let them free.
Let them be free.
I'm so worried about these cats right now. Turned out that we had to wait for the realtor to show us the place, then was informed that we couldn't get in there right away, resulting in us finding another hotel. This time, however, we insisted on finding a pet-friendly hotel because I was tired of not getting any sleep worrying about my cat being locked in my car all night and constantly getting up to check on her. This is where my hatred began to grow. When I unloaded the cats, we had 3 of them in 2 cat crates and a dog kennel. That's what we had when we started packing, and it worked. Don't judge. Also, I won't disclose my pet names because they are very unique, and I don't want my mother-in-law to find this somehow. My cat, let's call her Sassy, was on top of my fiance's brother cat, we'll call him Mike, cat crate with the dog kennel and his sister's cats, fake named June, sitting next to them. Little to my knowledge, Sassy's cat crate had been in the sun the whole ride down, and when I went to pull her out, her pads were scorched.
Oh, no.
Oh. The bottom of the cat crate had melted in the sun because our car had no AC to keep them cool and burned the bottoms of her feet so bad that she couldn't stand up. Dude, I was worried about these cats, man. Oh my goodness.
Are your car windows made out of like magnifying glass? Like what's going on?
Listen,
it's melting?
It's melting. It's hot in there. It's crazy, dude. That's crazy.
Jail.
Yeah, to the mom, not to you guys. You guys, you've been worrying. But oh my goodness. I sat with her in the fetal position and cried while his family went and got food and left me to watch the cat, which I had originally agreed to. No hate there. My cat's pads didn't heal right and give her problems even now 3 years later. Oh, and by the way, remember that condition we had agreed upon? We had agreed upon before even helping them sell the house? They lied to us. We were told after a while we were at the hotel that we weren't getting a living residence and instead was getting the biggest room of the hall ones because his brother offered to pay more for the living residence and they were getting the other one. Oh my gosh, so they lost a secret bidding war to his brother for this like living residency thing. Oh my goodness. So, mind you, we downsized from a house worth of stuff to an apartment worth of stuff before moving and now have boxes of stuff that we can't put away because we live in a room.
Yeah, like this is all so bad.
Yeah.
This is awful.
Yeah. This is crazy. Important note moving forward, my parents followed me a few months later. This ended up being a blessing as the events following would have been heck had I not had them within walking distance. Now, fast forward to about 1.5 years living there, I accidentally got pregnant. This was not something my fiance and I wanted for a few years down the road and were not financially stable enough for at the time, so the only person I told was my mom. My fiance was working out of state and I didn't have a license, so while he was against it, we both knew I had to in order to get my doctor's appointments. I hadn't told her, though, until I was 3 months because, honestly, I denied I was for 3 months until she had mentioned it to me that I needed to go take a test since I was always so sick and had no real energy. Wow, mother's intuition. She just knows. She just gets you.
She's like, sick, no energy, baby.
Well, my fiance and I, although we didn't necessarily hide the fact that I was expecting, we also had no urgency to tell his family either. A real a-hole move of us, but this would have been both of our first child, and neither of us were actually ready to accept the fact that this was happening quite yet. After another month of hiding it from my dad, however, by constantly wearing hoodies and baggy clothes, even though I didn't show until I was 8 months, he had suspicions, and eventually I told him. He promised to keep it a secret, but that ate at me that now both of my parents knew and his didn't. So I told him it wasn't my place to tell them as I was the one who told my parents, so he needed to tell his, but that he shouldn't really wait. He advised me that waiting was the best course of action as he wasn't home to defend me or stick up for me had things turned when they found out. Oh boy, was he right about that. He had about 1.5 weeks in between his work, so he flew back to be with me and fix his car so that I could drive it there. Was there ever an emergency where I needed to. His brother and I helped him with it. At this time, I was about 6-ish months pregnant and still not really showing, but wearing a hoodie at 98 degrees regardless.
Oh, that's
back again.
That's showing though.
Yeah, right?
That's showing.
That's yeah. This stood out as odd to his brother, who then told me I shouldn't be wearing a jacket in 98-degree weather, and my panicked response to him was, I feel fat today. This was a giveaway as I almost never eat and am 130 pounds. I have never really been self-conscious about my weight, and he knew that. So he later confronted my fiance to ask him what was wrong with me, as this was not the first time that he's seen me wearing hoodies outside in crazy high temperatures. Yeah, even if it's not pregnancy, it could be like, is she okay? Like, is she just depressed or something like that? Like, what's going on? So he told him and asked if he could help keep me comfortable while he's working, as he doesn't really talk to my parents much, but knows that it's been hard for them being the only ones who know about it, and takes me to appointments and such. He agreed, and honestly, his brother is a saint for defending me when his mom eventually found out. I don't remember exactly how she found out, but one day I was just chilling in my room with my cat being all pregnant, and then the next I was packing my bags and sneaking out while his mom was grocery shopping because she had kicked me out for not telling her I was pregnant.
Oh, that's a great reason to kick somebody out and not at all a psychotic thing to do to somebody.
Yeah.
Especially after you lie to them about the nature of the place that they're moving to in the first place.
You lied about this little human you're carrying that will be my grandchild. So now I don't want you here. I feel like that the opposite needs to happen. It's like, we need to get you a better space to live in because you have a baby coming. I went to stay with my parents in their spare room while my fiance was working and dealing with his mom, trying to get her to see how unreasonable she was acting. She then proceeded to tell him that what I had done by not telling her was hurtful. Yes, it was. I'll give her that. One. Shame on us. And that I had robbed her of being a grandmother. What? You're still going to be a grandmother. You just didn't know about it. It's just a surprise. I was only 6 months pregnant. My baby wasn't even born yet. So how I did that, I will never know. I then stayed with my parents for about 2 months until he came back from work and I was allowed to come home to talk things through. Well, get this. Get this. While I was gone at my parents', she had been busy. His older sister, who didn't move with us originally and was still living back in our hometown, hadn't gotten word of my pregnancy from either of us because we honestly weren't planning on telling really anyone until the baby was born. So naturally, his mother painted me out to be a monster. She claimed that my mother and I had hid the pregnancy from my fiance until I was 3 months pregnant, then forced him to lie to everyone about it, and was secretly planning on taking the baby away from him.
What the what?
Oh my goodness. None of that was remotely true, as I didn't even know or have concrete proof that I was pregnant until I was 3 months pregnant. This is not the only lie she told. She also had the pleasure of crying to our neighbors of how she would never get to see her grandbaby as I was selfish and would keep her from them. Girl, you're the one that literally kicked her out of your place. She also had his dad, who was working with him, trying to convince him while they were up there that he should take the baby and leave me. I didn't know about any of this until after I had come back to the house to talk it over with her and move back in. She agreed that she overreacted by kicking me out, but then followed her apology with but hiding something like that from me when you knew how excited I was to be a grandma and I saw you like a daughter, so I felt so betrayed. To this day, I have never gotten a proper apology from her kicking me out like that. Fast forward to our baby's birth. For a little history, my mother can't give birth naturally. All my siblings and I were C-sections. My sister, who only has one kid, also had to have a C-section. I wanted to give birth naturally. I am also terrified of hospitals and surgery, so hearing from my doctor hours into labor that my baby wasn't tolerating labor and it was becoming dangerous and gave me the opportunity to discuss having a C-section or trying to continue. And if things were still continuing like they were, we would have to go into an emergency C-section, which was the worst thing imaginable to me. I cried for about an hour to my fiance before we decided it was best for our baby to go ahead with the C-section, as emergency C-sections often have complications and can be a lot of stress and very scary. This, however, led to a 3-day stay in the hospital, my nightmare, and people coming to visit us during those 3 days, his mom being one of them.
Ugh.
We can all imagine what kind of problems that would bring. When she came to visit, she had seemed to have a different attitude towards me than she had before. I thought maybe seeing the grandchild her son and I created made her forget all that we had previously beefed about and flipped a new leaf. But this was not the case, for as soon as she heard the name, she flipped out again, saying that we only named our child that because we know that she hates names that start with that letter. What?
It's not about you, lady.
She then proceeded to storm out before getting to hold her grandchild and dragged his little sister out with her, even though that she was saying that she wanted to stay and see the baby. Fast forward some more to now when my baby is a year old, and overall mother-in-law has been a surprisingly good grandmother to my baby. There has been little things here and there that we have had to remind her that we don't want our child copying or learning, but overall it has been nice not having to worry about my baby's health and happiness while I'm working. I have a full-time job and have since my baby was 4 months old. I don't pay for daycare because my parent or my fiance's parents are always available, and so is my fiance. I am having him take a break from working to form a bond with our child before he eventually does go back and leaves us for months at a time. Between working and taking care of my baby, I am never home or out of my room much to interact with his family. This has resulted in me being left out of the family decision making. And so I was not too thrilled when I learned from his mom that she wanted to move everyone again across the country to Alaska. I hate the cold. I always have. So I naturally said I didn't like Alaska. She then blew me off saying that it was a gorgeous property and big enough so that we could have our own house on it and I could be there to help her with her farm animals and greenhouse while the men went to work.
I'm just a psycho, but like Alaska is so beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
And I
Good
like,
old
but
10
see,
hour
and
days.
my thing is I like the snow as well, and it's like it's you know what? The dark part of this is that in the future, I'm like, it's probably gonna be really good to be in a place where there's not a lot of people. But I don't want to get into that. Yeah, but again, it's if you can't handle the cold, like if OP doesn't like the cold, so it's like no, you could not do that.
Yeah, girl.
I'm a snowboarder. Like I can cope with the cold.
Yeah, going from these 98-degree days to snow all the time.
Yeah, that's
Big change.
Huge
Big change.
180.
I figure that this is just her being her since she doesn't work and doesn't really leave the house, so she was just daydreaming and window shopping. I'm not going to lie, I do it too when I see a house come on the market in my area. But then, to my surprise, when I brought it up to my fiance, he already knew about this plan to move to Alaska and hadn't even talked to me about it. Uh-oh, that's no good. I was upset because he knew how much my family meant to me and knew that they would not follow me to Alaska, and even more upset that he didn't think to consult me about it when he found out. That's a great point. You gotta talk about moving to Alaska with your wife.
Yeah, it's like it's a crazy. I don't understand that family dynamic of being like, and now we all live in Alaska.
Yeah, like what's that?
Because that's
about?
my idea.
What is that
it's
about?
Like, how about no?
How about what? By the way, you know what you guys could always move to?
Yeah, you can move straight to your podcast platform of choice.
Your favorite podcast app. Yeah, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
That's right. Anywhere.
Pick
Even
one.
YouTube. YouTube has a podcast section.
Would you look at that? And you can search OK Storytime, and you can live there for how many days do we have content?
52, my favorite area.
2 days. Anywho, there is a little bit more of the story, but do we have any little thoughts before we finish this guy up?
I mean, like, yeah, you don't have to stand for these people, like, deciding how you're going to live your life.
Yeah, the whole family does not need to live together.
Yeah.
Even, like, with the trip over here, I was kind of thinking, like, why do you guys need to have the same, like, driving schedule? Can't you guys, if you're taking 3 cars, can't you guys be like, hey, we're going to stay in this hotel. We're not going to go to lunch or dinner or breakfast or whatever. We're going to go straight there.
Yeah,
okay?
you come up with a plan, and then you're like, all right, we meet here by this time.
Like,
and then you can go do your detour, do whatever.
Exactly.
I fully recommend if you do a long-distance road trip, plan out a week and a half. Plan out, how... Take your time, because then you can like go see. It's so fun to like drive around and like find all these cool, weird little places you'd never go to before, and it's like, it's a great experience.
After all,
take your time.
It's about the journey, not the destination.
The journey is the destination, man.
But there is a little bit more. So I started a fight about it because I'm kind of emotional about things I feel I can't control, and he made me feel like I had to move with them by not talking to me about it. I ended the argument by yelling at him that I would sooner leave him than move with his family again. Everything about moving is just up in the air right now, and nothing has been set into motion, but am I the a-hole for telling him that? Wow, that was like full circle back to the title of that.
Yeah.
That's the end of the story, but what do we think?
I don't think you're an a-hole.
Yeah.
I think it's like, that's very reasonable.
Listen, because you could, describe it in the way where it's like, I never, ever want to leave you. So I would sooner do that than move to Alaska. You know what I mean? So if I really, really never, ever want to leave you, you can only imagine how much I do not want to move to Alaska.
Right. It's like, this is like a dude, like your family has like systematically like, dude, they kicked me out while I was pregnant. I'm not living with these people.
Yeah. I got to stay with my
Pregnant
parents.
with your child.
Yeah, because literally when she got kicked out, she had to go stay with her parents. What is she going to do if something like that happens again and she's alone in Alaska and he's off, working 3 months?
Yeah, I don't know. And it's like, maybe he doesn't get it because he has that, that distance, that separation from his job.
And maybe doesn't get treated the same way from his mom, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I don't think the a-hole. He probably could have taken it a little far and he probably, could be offended by it. And you can apologize, but just explain it. Just explain it and hopefully you're able to do it in a just calmer tone. Hopefully you both are.
Yeah. I mean, if he's offended, it's like you got to be like, yeah, you could see how much it must have taken for me to get to this point.
Yeah, yeah. Show him this Reddit post. Show him all the comments. I'm sure those usually tend to
be very nice,
convince people
and thoughtful.
Yeah. But yeah, no, not the a-hole. Let us know in the chat. What do we think?
My fiance made me choose between him and my sister, so I chose myself.
That's the best option.
I, 28 female, got engaged to my partner of 7 years, Robert, 29 male, in May. Both sides of our family were really happy about this, and we had a big family meal 2 weeks after getting engaged. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Sister's Eye. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Sophia.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, his brother lives 250 miles away, and I couldn't make it. So we decided to have a meal just for his family in late June when his brother would be back for the weekend. This weekend was arranged long before we got engaged, so he wasn't back just for the meal. Earlier this year, my sister, Kendra, 32 female, got a serious eye infection that very quickly turned into an ulcer. She needed a corneal graft, but her surgeon was away for 4 weeks, so she was going to have to wait until he got back.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. However, her eye didn't hold, and it perforated the day I was supposed to be going to the family meal with Robert's brother. Kendra's wife was at work with her phone turned off, and our mom was away with our stepdad. So when Kendra called to let me know what was happening, I knew she would be at the hospital on her own. I immediately talked to my boss, and he let me go early so Kendra would be on her own. I texted Robert to let him know what was going on, and he texted me back to send Kendra his love and to remind me about the meal that night. I ignored the comment about the meal as it was the last thing on my mind. Once I got to the hospital, I was taken back into a room where Kendra was, greeted by 3 doctors and 2 nurses rushing around trying to help her. I was then informed that she needed an emergency operation to have her eye glued, or else she would lose it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This is terrifying.
The problem was that they didn't have a surgeon at that hospital who could do it, and she needed to go to another hospital an hour and a half away. They asked if she would need transportation or if I could take her, and I said I would take her. Once we got to the other hospital, we were told that she would be having the operation at 5:30 p.m. I knew then that I wouldn't make the dinner and texted Robert to let him know. He flipped out and basically told me to leave Kendra at the hospital and have her wife pick her up after the operation was done.
Jeez.
At this point, I still hadn't been able to get a hold of Kendra's wife. I told him that wasn't going to happen and that he was out of order to even ask me to do that. I then texted his mom and told her what was going on. She was really supportive and told me to stay with Kendra and let her know how the operation went. A dinner can be rescheduled and Kendra's health can't, she said. I also spoke with his brother, who is equally as understanding. I stayed with Kendra. Her operation was a success, and I got her back home at about 9 p.m. Her wife had ordered some Chinese food and offered me some, which I happily accepted as I hadn't eaten since lunch. I didn't get home till about 11 p.m. and Robert was already asleep. Robert was very short with me for days after, and we ended up having a huge fight where he told me that I should have put his brother and family before Kendra.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, Robert, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah, no, come on, Robert. You're about to marry this woman.
Yeah.
And you're not even understanding why
We're not
she
getting
needed to be there for Kendra?
He said he was embarrassed going to the meal without me. I responded that I was embarrassed. He thought I would put a meal before my sister's health. This led to another week of awkwardness between us before we finally sat down and sorted it out. Or so I thought. 8 weeks ago, Kendra got her graft, and so far everything is going really well with it. On Saturday, his brother was here, so we went out for dinner with his family. His family were all asking about how Kendra was doing, and I showed them a picture of the stitches in her eye. I thought that everything had gone really well until we got home and he got really angry, saying that I shouldn't have brought up Kendra's health issues and I shouldn't have shown them the picture. I argued that they asked about her and asked to see the picture. It ended with him telling me that I needed to put him and his family before Kendra or else we weren't going to work. He said his family would come before mine once we were married, so I should get used to it.
My God. His family comes before yours? Forever?
That's not how that works, buddy boy.
No. This isn't like the 1800s where like the woman left home and never went and came back, you know?
Have you checked a calendar recently, dude?
Yeah. It's not how that works, buddy.
I went upstairs and packed a bag. I'm now at my mom's house. And he's been bombarding me with texts and calls since I left. I do love him, but I will never put his family above my own family's health. I feel like he's expecting me to spend every holiday with his family and put their wants above my family's needs, which won't happen. I'm very close to my sister and my mom, and that's not going to change. So I don't really know how to move forward or if I even really want to. Has anyone experienced anything like this before? If so, how did you deal with it? And we have an update, but what you thinking?
Boy. Honestly, I'd be completely reconsidering the marriage.
Yeah, to be like,
yeah.
Just so you know, your family will never come first again.
Yeah. One, him saying that. Two, him saying that he's embarrassed that you didn't show up for a dinner when your sister was in the hospital. I'd be reconsidering.
Yeah. Update. A lot has happened. Once I decided to end things with him, I knew that the main issue would be getting him out of my house. I own the house outright. My grandma passed 5 years ago and left her house to my mom, who sold it and split the money between me and my sister. I then bought the house with that money about a year after she passed. I got in touch with my stepdad's friend, who is a landlord, the day after I wrote my original post, and he put me in touch with his solicitor. He didn't have time to see me in person that day, but we did have a phone call where he gave me my options. In the UK, we have something called a Section 8 notice, which is a 14-day eviction notice. The solicitor said this would be the quickest way to get him out. However, he could try and contest it if he wanted to. I thought someone fell down the stairs. Which would lead to court dates and could take months. I asked him to draw up the notice and date it for Friday the next day. I had already made the decision to end things with him after work on Friday so that he could have the weekend to sort through his emotions before work on Monday. On Friday morning, I texted Robert and asked him to meet with me at our local pub after work. He quickly agreed. Not only is the pub a public space, but my stepdad and a few of his work friends go there every Friday after work for a few pints. So I knew he would be there to step in if I needed him. I also picked up the eviction notice on my lunch break. I was ready to give it to him. Cost £250, but it was worth it. When I got to the pub, Robert was already there, and my stepdad was standing at the bar with his workmates. I sat down with Robert and got straight to the point. I told him that it was over. I couldn't be with someone who didn't give me any support when I was going through one of the scariest moments of my life, and who expected me to drop my family for his. It didn't matter what excuses he could come up with. I wasn't interested.
Nice.
I made up my mind. We were done.
Nice.
He stared at me in shock for what felt like an hour, but was probably only a minute or so. He then started saying I couldn't be serious, that we'd been together for 7 years and I was throwing it all away.
Nah, boy, you're throwing it all away with your nasty comments.
Ready for this next line?
Yeah.
Ready for this?
Oh, no.
That I could never find another guy like him.
I hope not.
I hope
I never
don't.
find a guy like you again. Jeez, you suck.
I responded to the last comment with, I don't want a guy like you. That's why I'm ending it.
Yes.
I need someone who will support me when times get tough, not get annoyed that the world isn't bowing down to what you want. I then handed him an envelope with an eviction notice in it and my engagement ring. I told him I was giving him a few weeks to find a place and be out of my house. Then I stood up and walked over to my stepdad, who had bought me a much-needed drink, and stayed with him until my ex left, still looking in shock. I knew he wouldn't approach me while I was with my stepdad, as he's always been a little scared of him. Once I got back to my mom's house, I had a single text from him that said he wasn't moving out, and he's going to contest the eviction until I'd come to my senses and got back with him. All caps, "We are not over," was how he ended the text.
Because I think we are.
So funny. It's actually like, I'm still breaking up with you.
Yeah, it's actually crazy because I've broken up with you, so we're actually done.
Really wild how that works.
Sorry.
I just turned my phone off and decided to deal with the legal side of things on Monday. There was nothing else I could do. Saturday morning, I woke up and turned my phone back on and had another text from him saying that he would move out if I paid him £10,000, as that's what he'd paid towards bills while he had lived at the house.
Or you'll move out when I evict you.
Yeah. He paid for half of the electric, gas, Wi-Fi, and Sky package.
Yeah, come on. Come on.
And note, the Sky package is only as expensive as it is because he has to have every sports channel known to man. So his half literally just paid for the sports channels. I'd already asked the solicitor about this though, and he assured me that I didn't owe him any money, as he hadn't contributed to a mortgage or any renovations of the house. It was just general expenses. He also knew that I didn't have £10,000 just lying around. I was irritated by this and decided to ring his mom to see if she could talk some sense into him. Sylvia was appalled by what I told her and said she would speak to him. She called me back about an hour later and asked me to meet her at the house. Robert was on an away day to watch his football team play and wouldn't be back till about 10 p.m., so I knew he wasn't there. I met her at the house with Kendra, and Sylvia said that Robert's brother was on his way back home and they would have Robert out by the following afternoon. She hadn't even spoken to Robert, just his brother, but she promised he would be out. Sylvia then asked me to walk her through the house, showing her exactly what was his and what wasn't, so he didn't take anything that didn't belong to him. The next morning, I got a text from Robert calling me all the names under the sun for getting his mom and brother involved. I blocked him, and a couple of hours later, Sylvia texted me to let me know he was out and staying with her. I thanked her, and she told me that she would like to stay in contact, and I happily agreed to this. I went back to my house after work on Monday, changed the alarm code, and my stepdad changed all the locks for me. My stepdad is also arranging for a friend of his to install cameras around the outside of the house, which will be done over the weekend. Sylvia rang me on Tuesday asking if we could meet up, as she has some things that she wanted me to know. We met for lunch that day. It was at this time that she told me that her ex was a controlling a-hole who was incredibly selfish, and the selfishness was what she had seen in Robert for so long. That's why she had commented on him being like his father. But she had hoped that was the extent of Robert's attitude, and he hadn't picked up his dad's controlling behavior, which, to be fair, he hadn't up until this whole episode. She had left Robert's dad after he had 1-2'd Robert's brother in the face when he was 14 and Robert was 10. He had never laid a hand on her or their sons before, but one time was enough, and she left with the boys. To her knowledge, her ex had never reached out to speak to Robert or his brother, and they hadn't spoken to their father in years. I didn't know any of this. All I had been told was that their dad wasn't in the picture and hadn't been for a long time. But Sylvia had thought I knew, and that's why she hadn't told me before. However, she found out Sunday night that Robert was back in contact with his father and had been for the past year. His dad had been putting lots of thoughts into Robert's head about how he is the man of the house and his family is all that matters. This had fed into Robert's selfish tendencies and had amplified them tenfold. Sylvia said that she had told him to find somewhere else to stay as soon as possible because she couldn't even look him in the face. Then Robert and his brother had a huge argument that ended with his brother telling them that as long as Robert is in touch with their dad, then he will have zero contact with him, even going so far as to tell him to spend Christmas with their dad because Sylvia is going to his house and Robert isn't welcome. When Sylvia took Robert's brother's side in all of this, Robert flew into a rage and said he would move in with his dad. He then left the house, but came back a couple of hours later looking like he'd been crying. Turns out his dad doesn't want him living with him and basically said he could be on the streets for all he cares.
Oh my God.
He's not putting a roof over a grown man's head. Sylvia thinks that Robert is now starting to realize everything he has lost due to him listening to his dad and has seen his dad's true colors. Sylvia is incredibly disappointed in him, but he's her son, so she's trying to be there for him as best she can. However, she still wants him out, and she doesn't trust him anymore. His brother still won't have anything to do with him. She has also told him to stay the heck away from me, as I don't need to be brought into this. And he has promised her that he will. Only time will tell if that's true, but I do have him blocked on everything. And if he turns up to the house, I will just call the police to get rid of him. The more Sylvia told me about what had been going on behind my back, the more resolute I have become about wanting nothing to do with him. I never want to see him again if I can help it. But by the way, I can help you guys in knowing that there's full episodes with stories just like this that you can listen to. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, search up OK Storytime.
There sure are.
Sure, a whole bunch. We got a little bit left.
Yeah, you know why he did it, but it still doesn't excuse that. Like, he's an adult. He's an adult. He made a choice
The
to
fact
say
that
all
he
those
was
things.
so influenced by
Yeah,
his dad
it's concerning.
after a year of like, it's very
Pretty concerning. So I think you dodged a bullet.
Yeah, we have a little bit left. So all in all, Robert's life is a crap show. But as long as he stays away from me, then I don't care. I've been spending a lot of time with my sister and her wife, as well as my mom and stepdad, which has been great. I've never really been close to my stepdad, but this has brought us a lot closer together, which has been one huge positive out of all of this. I'm not exactly happy right now, but I'll get there. There's still a lot of feelings that I need to unpack, and it will take time to move on from this whole situation. I don't think I will be dating for a while. I need to really get over all of this, and I don't want to dump this on anyone else right now. Kendra is doing great. She had a hospital appointment on Monday, and her consultant said her eye is healing, in his words, marvelously. So that's a relief. And that is the end of that story.
I hid my friend's engagement ring, but my girlfriend thought it was for her.
Oh, that's a tough one.
I've been dating my girlfriend Laura for just over 2 years. We met as I was finishing my master's, and she was in her last year of undergrad as we attended the same university. We have a pretty strong relationship overall. We get along really well and have pretty similar views and goals in life, and I love her a great deal. She's definitely been the healthiest relationship I've ever had, and I see a strong future with her. By the way, this comes from user Ring Accident, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Sophia.
I'm Keon.
And we're all here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we know. So if you know what you know, let us know in the comments below. And OP says, this weekend has been awful, however. My best friend Rob came to me about a month ago and told me that he had a plan to propose to his long-term girlfriend Grace of about 7 years. The problem was that they lived together and she is a very clean person, and he was afraid she might find the ring while cleaning before he was ready to propose. I offered to hide it for him at my house until he was ready, and he handed it over. I hid it in the back of my sock drawer. And honestly, kind of forgot about it until last Monday when he asked for it back. He successfully proposed to Grace yesterday, and she posted a picture of the two of them on her Instagram with the ring clearly visible. Literally 5 minutes after she posted, Laura rang me absolutely fuming. She told me she'd found that ring 3 weeks ago, so why had I given it to Rob for Grace when I had clearly chosen it especially for her? Was Grace mocking her with her post, just rubbing her nose into the fact that she had stolen her ring? I tried to talk her down and explain that I had just been keeping it safe for Rob and that I had never intended to propose to her with it, but that only made her more upset, and she started screaming at me that I'd absolutely built up her hopes and just destroyed them. She hung up on me, then texted me that I had 3 months to propose to her with a better ring than Grace's, or she's going to break up with
And
me.
at that point, you do kind of have to break up with her.
Yeah.
At that point, she's demanding a proposal. You've been together a little over 2 years. You guys are not even out of college yet, it seems. Yeah, that's
Sorry.
kind of
Yeah,
breakup
that's-
worthy.
You go, why did we even wait 3 months? We'll do it today.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
let's-
My flabbers are gasted at that
So
point.
gasted.
Am I wrong for thinking this is a red flag? I know that she probably was really excited, and I absolutely never meant to hurt her feelings with all of this. But the ring was never for her, and she never should have known about it. We don't live together, and I don't know what she was doing snooping in my drawers, or when she had time to look in there, or what she was looking for. More than that, I am 100% not ready for marriage. We've only been together for 2 years. We haven't lived together. We haven't even talked about marriage yet. I want to be living together for at least a year before we get engaged. What do I do? I totally understand why she'd be upset, but I just feel like she's invaded my privacy by looking through my socks and that I'm being treated badly for something that was never meant as a snub towards her. This is the first big fight we've had, and I'm not sure if I'm just seeing red flags because I'm hurt or if they're really there. Comment 1. She's obviously really embarrassed at the fact that she told people, oof, you're right, and she probably even took a picture of the ring, by the way she's reacting at least, and showed it to friends of hers. Some girls dream of getting married, and the thought of it excites them a lot. And to then hear your boyfriend tell you he wasn't even thinking about proposing, and that it's not on the table at all at the moment probably hurt her pride and broke her heart a little bit. Giving the ultimatum was wrong on her part in every way, and if she truly loves and cares about OP, she will see that her reaction was wrong, and she'll apologize. If she doesn't, then there's a problem. Women are usually ready for marriage sooner than men, so maybe she thought they were getting to that point. So it may have felt like a slap in the face, even though that wasn't the intention of OP. She'll come around, she's just upset about it, and reacted irrationally in the heat of the moment. If you're confident about your feelings for one another, you will conquer this obstacle and have a better relationship because of it. Misunderstandings or fights aren't the end of the world. If they were, then no one would make it to 50 years of marriage. And then some people got to say, well, then maybe we weren't designed to make it to 50 years of marriage.
Yeah, I gotta say, I don't think these two are designed for that. We're at like 2 years of dating, and then she's reacting like this. And also they're still in college. You're gonna find someone better.
It just seems like
You're gonna find someone
really self-centered. Because it's like once you find out, it's like, oh, that's like, yeah, you can be like embarrassed and be like, oh man. But then to make it like
him about it.
This is a conspiracy against me.
Yeah.
To make me look like a fool.
Yeah, all I'm hearing is it's about me. It's about how I look. It's about what I want. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Another comment. You mentioned that this is the first time in the 2 years you've been together that she's blown up like this and acted this way. It's 2 years into the relationship, and you two haven't had a talk yet about long-term plans. I have a strong feeling she's been wanting to progress the relationship forward and was hoping you'd pop the question soon. Yes, it's ridiculous that she didn't talk about this with you. There's a lot of things many women internalize about how a proposal should happen, and one of the awful things, in my opinion, is that it should be a surprise, and if you have to ask about it, it's pressuring, and he doesn't really want to be with you. If this truly is the first time, and it seems like this reaction was out of character for who you've known her to be, then have a sit-down conversation with her. It's time you both addressed expectations for timelines, like moving in, engagement, proposal, kids, etc., and where the relationship is heading. You both need to come to an agreement and get on the same page. And by the way, you can scroll through pages and pages of full episodes with stories just like this on your favorite podcast platform like iHeartRadio, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Wherever you listen to podcasts, all you got to do is search OK Storytime, and you can find them all.
I reject this comment so much. I think in other stories, sure, a little bit of communication can go a long way. When she's threatening to break up unless you propose in 3 months, no.
I do think
I don't even know if you could get anywhere. I mean, have a talk.
If you can sit down and have a face-to-face where she goes, hey, so that was pretty bad of me, right? I went a little crazy, and I see that, and I own that, and let's reset.
I mean,
if
let's
she came
be
in,
on the same. And if she comes with any energy besides that, I don't know.
It's very crazy. This is your first argument, and it's an ultimatum, and it's like your first real big argument.
Yeah.
It's an ultimatum, and she is throwing the "I will break up with you, no matter what" over your head as one of the reasons or one of the this or that, who's to say what she won't do in the future? If,
Yeah.
like, oh, if you don't treat me like this, I'm breaking up with you. If you don't
Yeah.
give me this, breaking up with you.
Yeah,
Right
I
off the bat.
genuinely don't see a way forward unless she does exactly what Dakota said.
She's got to come correct.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just send her one of those videos where you see people, like, someone just throws the ring at the table when they're eating food at, like, Waffle House. And she just puts it on, like, all right, cool, goes back to eating.
Nice.
continue.
Let's get back to my
Yeah.
my gold star breakfast.
No, I don't think this relationship can continue. It seems like this is like a pretty big turning point in the wrong direction.
Well, let's finish this story, see what direction it goes in. The commenter continues, also, it's time to talk about how you two are approaching important conversations, or not approaching them, as it seems, and communication as a whole in the relationship. She shouldn't have stuffed it until she exploded. You also should have communicated more about your timeline since you had one set in your head for moving in, and that it was important to you, and also address that her ultimatum instead of talking to you isn't okay. You two have been in a 2-year serious relationship. This is the first major conflict, it seems, and both of you have expectations about how the relationship was to progress and timelines that were internalized, and neither of you communicated about. As adults, it's time to talk through it, and if you can't, or either of you just wants to run from trying to talk it through and resolve things together, then you two aren't ready for a real adult relationship.
I refuse to let my fiance be with my father because of his bad influence.
Like, be with him?
I, 27 female, have a complicated relationship with my dad, 55 male. He wasn't a bad father, but he's been a terrible husband. Growing up, I constantly found my mother crying because my dad had cheated on her again. By the way, this comes from Ambitious Base 182. If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Savannah,
I'm Dakota.
Yeah, I'm Keon.
and we're here to give you some good advice, goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We would only tell you what we would do in this situation, but let us know what you would do in this situation in the comments. As Sophie says, he'd cheat, she'd lash out. He'd tell jokes to lighten the mood, which made her even angrier. Then within days, they'd be back to normal until she'd catch him cheating again. I resented my father for this, and I resented my mother somewhat for tolerating it so much. After college, I returned to living with my parents until I could figure out my finances. I met a guy I really liked, and he would come over to my parents' house most of the time. He and my dad got close pretty quickly. They would hang out together a lot, going on fishing and camping trips together. I thought it was nice that my father and my boyfriend were getting along so well until I overheard them one day talking about their latest adventure. From that conversation, I realized their trips weren't just about fishing or camping. They were picking up women together. Whoa, what? Essentially, my dad was encouraging him to cheat on me as long as he was discreet about it. They tried denying it, but I wasn't fooled. I broke up with him immediately, and my relationship with my dad got even worse. I moved out some months later and rarely visited. My apartment was only a 20-minute drive away from my parents, but I visited just a handful of times because of my mother. Now on to the current situation. I met my fiance, 26 male, some months after my last relationship, and we dated for a year and a half before he asked me to marry him. I had already introduced him to my parents, and they'd met a couple more times. He knew about the situation with my ex and why my relationship with my father was strained. We got engaged a month ago, the week before Thanksgiving. When I informed my mother, she begged us to spend Thanksgiving weekend with them to celebrate. She used the fact that we drifted apart so much, and my fiance convinced me, so I agreed. On the first night after dinner, my dad invited my fiance to go out on the porch to drink adult soda and chat. My mom and I decided to join them. The conversation was mostly about their mutual love for football. After an hour or so, it got tiring and I wanted to sleep. My mom had already gone to bed. When I told my fiance, he said I should go ahead and he would be with me soon. I felt uneasy about leaving them alone, but didn't want my fiance to feel like I was monitoring him. My fiance accidentally woke me up when he finally came to our room in the middle of the night. When I asked him why he was coming to sleep so late and what they had been talking about for so long, he replied, football, of course. I didn't press farther. All weekend they hung out constantly. My fiance helped my dad with chores and ran errands with him. When I brought it up, he said he was just being polite. Fast forward to yesterday. My fiance casually informed me he would be going on a camping trip with a friend. This isn't the first time he has gone camping since we got together, but I got suspicious because he got evasive when I asked who he was going with. When I pressed, he finally admitted he was going with my dad. Apparently, over the weeks after Thanksgiving, they stayed in contact. They had even gone to watch a football game together without me knowing because my father said I would make a big deal out of it. Oh, I lost it and told him absolutely not. I reminded him what happened with my ex. He said I was being paranoid, that my dad was cool to hang out with and had never mentioned anything about women. He said my dad didn't force my ex to cheat, so I couldn't keep holding a grudge.
That actually is true, but you can also be like, yeah, that irreparably damaged my relationship with my father, because what kind of father encourages their daughter's partner to cheat on her?
Yeah, it's like
That's
just even
crazy.
putting like the idea in their head.
It's I put him to the test, and he obviously failed it.
Yeah, like, huh?
I was doing
Yeah.
it for you, honey.
Well,
Oh,
then also,
right,
yeah, you
right.
cheated on my mom a dozen times, so I don't care.
I was
Yeah.
showing him the error of my ways.
And
Yeah.
also him going behind her back to like hang out with him when they like all know the situation of what happened last time. Like, that's just disrespectful at that point. I'd be like, listen, if you want to be friends with my dad, cool, then I'm done. I'm out of here. Or if you want to be with me, but you are not going to be with my dad. Like, it's just, there's too many things happening here and I don't like it.
Yeah.
That hurt very much. In addition to the fact that he wouldn't cancel the camping trip like I asked, I told him that he could either stop hanging out with my dad or I would call off our engagement. He got upset and accused me of trying to control him and said the fact that I think my dad can influence him means I don't trust him. We have barely talked since yesterday as he keeps giving me the cold shoulder. I don't want to be the kind of woman who controls who her man hangs out with, but I feel like I set a clear boundary from the very start regarding my dad, and he knows how it makes me feel. Am I the a-hole? And there are some comments. I don't think you're the a-hole at all. I think you are trying to prevent what happened to you last time, and there's clear signs that it's happening again.
But Savannah! Who else is he going to talk about football with? He's the only guy.
Yeah, I guess.
He's the only guy
only
on
guy in
earth who
history.
can talk football.
But here are some comments. If anyone tells me not to tell my wife I'm hanging out with them because she'll be upset, the first person I'm telling is my wife. Yes, gentlewoman never tell says, oh, he'll cheat on her. Absolutely. OP needs to go non-contact with her parents and her fiance. Signal historian 456 says, if he hasn't already, this whole thing is a cluster. Amazing reality 2980 says, not the a-hole, but I wouldn't bother with the ultimatum. What is particularly concerning here is that your fiance is already lying to you and sneaking around behind your back. You're trying to maintain boundaries with your father, and your own fiance isn't respecting them. He's showing you who he really is, so believe him. A good man would not be lying to you. A good man would not be sneaking around behind your back. A good man would respect your wishes regarding your family. You can't trust this guy, and if you keep dating him, it's only a matter of time before he's out cheating with or without your dad. I mean, couldn't have said it better myself. Truly.
100%. I don't think I could have said it that good.
Yeah.
I would have probably been like, oh,
Ah.
stop. You can't do that.
Cosmopolite24 says, my view is that dad is doing it deliberately so he can say, see, all men cheat. I wasn't the a-hole. It's just what us men do.
Oh, that's actually such a good point, because, like, what would drive a dad to do this? And it's just so you could go, see, I wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I wasn't that bad. This is every guy on the face of the planet.
So you're going to prove a point by hurting your daughter.
Over
That's
and
cool.
over again.
You're a really good dad. What?
Yeah, they call me
How about, like,
the
grow up?
pharaoh. The pharaoh of fathers.
the federal fathers? But the judgment here is not the a-hole, and there is an update 3 days later. So I did not break up with my fiance right away. Pathetic, I know. This is a man I'd been with for almost 2 years, and we'd never have any major fights until now. I wanted to wait to see if he would understand where I was coming from and decide to cut my father off. But 2 days later, he was still giving me the cold shoulder despite my attempts to talk it out. I forgot to mention in my original post that my fiance did say that it wouldn't be just him and my dad. His friend would be there too, so I didn't have to worry. But I think that's beside the point. What broke the pathetic bubble I was in was when a text came through his phone while he was in the shower. It was my father's number, and it said, has she cracked yet? I finally understood that my fiance had been giving me the cold shoulder to make me relent, and he had no intention of canceling the trip with my dad. Something broke in me, but it wasn't anger. I took off my ring and placed it on the nightstand. When he came out of the shower, I calmly told him that I needed him out of my apartment by the end of the week. He again tried to point out how unreasonable I was being and how it was turning me into a controlling woman. I told him I didn't want to control his life, which is why I'm asking him to leave. That way, he could be free to be friends with whoever he wants. But I can't be with someone who doesn't respect my boundaries and thinks there's nothing wrong with associating with someone who hurt me so much. He changed his tune very quickly and said he would cancel the trip and stop talking to my dad if that would make me happy. But he didn't want me to leave him. I have to admit that I was tempted for a second, but I managed to stand my ground and told him I didn't want to be with him anymore. Then I left the apartment and drove to my parents' house. The calmness disappeared there as I ripped into my dad for being a piece of crap of a human being, for constantly cheating on my mom and destroying my relationship again like he did before. I didn't expect a shred of remorse, and he gave none. What is wrong with this guy?
Again, you both are at fault. This guy hurt you so much. There should have been no universe in which your partner could have ever thought creating a buddy-buddy friendship with him would be okay based on how you talked about him, right? You should have been like, hey, my dad, scorched earth, scum of the scum, like freaking, I don't want you to associate with him because he's a bad news guy for me. And then if that's crystal clear, I don't see how this happens. And then if this does happen, after that's crystal clear, easy breakup city.
All those who commented that he does this to prove a point were right. My dad told me that if I expect to find a man who will be satisfied with just me forever, then I am living in a bubble. Men are designed to want variety every once in a while. I pretty much expected that, so I wasn't shocked. What broke me was my mother agreeing with him and telling me that I would never find the perfect man because all men cheat, but what's important is that you're the one he loves and comes home to at the end of the day.
Oof, she's fully on Kool-Aid right now, dude. She drank all of the Kool-Aid that your dad gave her.
Yikes. That was a horrible comeback, Mom.
Just like all men cheat. Wow. Was it around when you did the global survey? I guess I missed that. When you asked every man on earth?
It's just like, what?
It's just cope. That's how she copes.
Yeah.
With her existence. She goes, oh, well, this isn't actually wrong. I'm actually a genius, and I did this the right way. Because every other man would also cheat on me. So this is how I win. This is how it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my previous post, I mentioned being somewhat resentful towards my mom as well for taking so much crap from my father, but I had never looked at her and felt disgust as I felt in that moment. I calmly told her that wasn't true. She might have resigned herself to being with a piece of crap, but I know I deserve so much better. I told my father I don't care if he disowns me, takes me out of his will, or whatever. I don't want anything to do with him ever again. By the way, we want everything to do with you because you can come on over and listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast app and just type OK Story Time.
If you dare.
Yeah. All right. More of the story. And I told my mom that I loved her, but until she gathers enough and self-respect to leave my dad, I don't want anything to do with her either.
She has to gather a bunch of balls for all.
She gets every tennis ball in the world, every single baseball, every football.
Balls. Once I have 100,000 balls, I will dump them on you.
Then I left their house and drove to my best friend's house where I proceeded to break down into pieces. Sorry if the write-up feels choppy. I've lost 2 of the people I care about the most, and it hurts like heck. But I also know that I have to put myself first for once after all of the crap I've put up with. Like most of you, my best friend also suggested therapy, so I'm going to look into that. P.S. I know legally I owe my ex-fiancé a month's notice. He moved in with me 7 months ago, but I don't think I can stomach it for that long. Hopefully he'll leave within the week and not make things difficult for me. In the meantime, I will be staying at my friend's house. Thanks so much for all your responses. It comforts me a bit even when I feel so crappy. And that's the end.
My friend keeps comparing her marriage to mine. So I told her my husband is just better.
It's a skill issue.
My friend, let's call her Sarah, has always had a lot of relationship issues with her now husband. When they were still dating, they were on and off, and after 10 years, she gave him an ultimatum. propose or it's over. He gave her what I think is a shut up ring, and they've been married for 2 years now. By the way, this comes from user OKCherry9835 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, me and my husband also had a long dating period, but we decided on getting married after a year. We just didn't have the money. Weddings are super expensive when you have a big family. So we worked hard, bought a house, and only after we had some extra money, we had a very small ceremony. Overall, we quote-unquote dated for 8 years and got married on our 10-year anniversary. Because of that, Sarah believes our situation is the same, aka the shut up ring. So she comes to me with all of her relationship issues thinking I have some magic solution to all of them. Let me give you some examples. Her husband never cleans, literally throws trash on the floor for her to pick up. Mine not only cleans after himself, but in general does what he sees needs to be done. Well, I feel like they're just like flexing like Pokemon. My Pokemon does this.
Mine's a normal type.
Oh, you have a normal type Pokemon? That's crazy. I have a dragon type Pokemon. Hers hides his phone, comments on Instagram pics of hot women, and in general acts suspicious. Mine doesn't. We have each other's passwords. Hers says weekends are for the boys. He's literally 40. What boys? Mine likes spending time with me. Really quick though. Hers is extremely critical and mine very affectionate. Overall, it also means her husband and mine dislike each other. Mine thinks hers is disrespectful and immature. In general, I wouldn't say too much because it is her life to do as she pleases, but she makes it my problem. She keeps asking, how did you make your husband cook? How did you force your husband to spend time with you? And the one that made me break my silence recently, how did you convince your husband to be nice? Mine is so critical and I can't convince him to change. How did you get yours to accept your weight gain? I think what broke me is the assumption that my husband is mean naturally and he needed me changing him to be kind. So I finally straight up told her she will never have as happy a marriage with him as I have with my love, specifically because she married someone who doesn't even like her, much less love her. I told her she can't change trash into gold by force, and to have a marriage like mine, she needs a husband like mine. I also said that she's naive and dumb if she thinks her husband will change because he doesn't care about her enough to even change his underwear every day. Yeah, that's also a problem. And that if at this point she stays, then her unhappiness is her own dang fault. Obviously, she got angry.
At her or the husband?
No, she didn't. Why would she get angry at that?
OP or the husband?
Sometimes I like to say, some people need the cold water, right? But you didn't give her cold water. You gave her like boiling hot, like if you leave like a cup in the microwave for 5 minutes.
Hot black coffee.
Yeah, you just threw that all over her. And now you're like, why is she mad?
What did I do?
Obviously, she got angry. There is a reason I didn't tell her that before. She always assumed our situations were the same and was blind to how different our partners were. I tried to warn her after he proposed without a ring and told her to buy it herself because he can't read her mind and know what she likes. You don't marry that guy. But that led to a fight and her asking me to keep my opinions to myself. Even our mutual friends think I'm cruel because she is just desperate and at the end of her rope. I told them that if that's true, she needs to cut the rope that holds him. I can't listen to her complain about the same thing anymore. But they told me I'm a bad friend to her because we need to support her and maybe one day she will leave him.
You're being a better friend than they are. They're supporting it. They're like, oh, yeah, he's a bad guy. He's not the best, but you know what? You got to support her.
Another perfect example of how people are reluctant to communicate things that are maybe hard or potentially difficult to say. Like, you're the better friend than these people. These people telling you're a bad friend are completely on the wrong side.
You're telling her the straight, honest truth.
I mean, you could have told her the truth nicer. In reality, like, you giving her a dose of reality is better than all her friends being like, maybe one day she'll leave him. That's actually insane.
Yeah, those friends suck.
But I can't keep my mouth shut when she keeps assuming my partner is the same as hers, but I somehow magically changed his entire personality. He deserves more credit than that, and hers honestly shouldn't even be in the same category in my opinion. And honestly, how long can a person listen to the same issues over and over again and still give support after that many years of negativity? So am I the a-hole? And we do have an update. So I'm going to say right now, my judgment is kinda not because of you giving her reality, but it was because of the way that you did it. Like, you needed it that with a more gentle approach, you wouldn't be an a-hole, but the way you did it, yeah, you kind of just like nuclear slam dunked on your friend.
Your friend is not an a-hole. Your friend is just misguided and just lost in a relationship that she's just it's stagnant for her. The a-hole is her husband.
I mean, sure, between the two of them, for sure.
But in this case, between you two, both? No, I don't know.
No, I'm saying it was OP because of the execution of the slam dunk. You could have just laid it in and said, hey, your husband is bad. But instead you were like, you made it more about her than about the husband.
Like,
you were like,
never
you're
be happy.
dumb for marrying him. It was your mistake. He doesn't like you. You're bad. Like,
I can imagine from OP's standpoint that she has probably said this time and time again.
no, she's at
And
the
it's
end of
just
her
like-
rope. She said so.
Yeah, like you're a broken record.
I know. It's not fair. Sometimes it is what it is.
Listen, if I heard the same thing over and over again, I'm like, how do you make him so good? How do you do it? I don't know. Maybe you leave him and find someone better. And that's what, honestly, OP did.
Only because so many people assume that I never said anything, and it was literally the first time I ever spoke to her about her relationship being toxic. 1, I said in this post that I did say something, but she directly told me not to give her more advice, but I'll attach my reply in a different comment. Have you at any point before that confrontation explained to your friend that her relationship was toxic and her partner treated her poorly or encouraged her to leave? OP responds so many times.
Called it, yeah.
First, when they started dating and she had to pay for everything to prove she isn't a gold digger, then repeatedly for 2 years until she straight up told me she doesn't want to hear anything about breaking up with him or deserving better because she decides what she deserves. Me and him dislike each other, so our friendship suffered a lot, and nowadays I don't even see her unless they're fighting, and even then, only so she can vent about men. She keeps saying men do this, and I just shrug, saying I can't relate. I think I bit my tongue for so long, I exploded. Yeah, exactly what you were saying, Keon.
She bit her tongue too many times that her tongue fell out.
And let that be a lesson. Don't bite your tongue all the time, guys.
No, at this point, I would be like, the harsh love is there. I would have blown up and be like, shut up. This is what you get.
The more I think about it, the more guilty I feel because she must be brainwashed to think her relationship is normal. But I was so angry because she also said my husband is whipped because he did the laundry while we were drinking coffee. He did it instead of me so we could have some girl time without him.
What a great mindset to have. What a great friend.
I just don't even think this person's emotionally mature enough to be in a marriage.
I don't think this person understands what a good relationship is
Yeah.
or a good man. But I think she's also weaponizing the fact that she's like, I'm in a bad relationship. Feel bad for me. How do I fix it? I want to hear how you fix it, but I'm not going to fix it. I'm not going to do any solutions. I'm not going to do any problem solving.
Mm.
You reap what you sow. I don't feel bad for your friend at all. Go off of
I used to plead with her to leave him. Said she deserves better. I recommended her therapy, couples counseling at least. But all she wants is to complain and for me to say, yes, that's how all husbands are. This is just the way marriage is, but I changed my trash man with this easy trick that you can do. This post was indirectly about more than just this instance. We have more than 15 years of history, and most of it, she was with him. Some of you really opened my eyes asking if I even like her. I used to before him. I don't anymore. I will need to have a deep conversation with her ending this friendship. I can't help her, and she doesn't want to be helped. But I can't keep listening about her marriage. And I asked her multiple times to stop talking about him, but she still does because, and I quote, we are in the same boat.
She just wants the attention.
And you know where I want your attention? On our live stream.
Nice.
Every weekday at 3 p.m. PST when we go live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and TikTok. Just tap on our profile
Easy.
and you're in.
Do
All
it.
4 platforms at the same time.
Look, tap, 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 tap. 4 taps.
And we might even be live right now, but before you check that, we're going to just wrap up our thoughts here. We're going to finish this story.
Dump
You know,
him, friend.
I know you're like, go off on your friend, OP. And look, I agree. However, if you would have just talked about it earlier, it wouldn't have broken down.
Sorry, I don't think so. I really don't think so. OP started, if you saw.
But she didn't cold water her
No,
until
we don't know that.
She was pleading, begging. But now she was like,
No, OP did that. OP's like, he's not good for you. If one of my friends was like, she's not good for you, don't date him or don't date her, I'd be like, I like that. No, what the friend was doing was like, Okay, but no. A time and time after again.
Just trying to think of if that negates. Maybe just everyone sucks.
That's what I'm saying. OP should have just cut it off a long time ago because she's tried every little thing she could to help her friend, and the friend is doing nothing to better it other than just like, hear me complain. I want to vent. I want to do the tea. She's had the cold water. She doesn't want to hear it. She doesn't care. She's like, don't bring it up. I don't want to hear you talking about me breaking up with him. I want to be with him, but how do I fix him? Oh, that's how you fix him? I'm not going to do that. OP has done everything right.
Let's finish it. I guess I'm still angry because I'm offended on my husband's behalf. I think I will go insane if she asks me again, how do you get your husband to babysit your kids, while simultaneously telling me she doesn't even want my advice. Okay, I am very angry still. I can't give advice because it's her life, but she asks me how I trained my husband every time she visits. There are more things I haven't included because it is already long and we know each other for a long time. I don't know if I'm an a-hole, but I think I need to be right now. I can't be supportive. I'm all out of empathy for her. I think those who said I'm a bad friend are right. I think I can't be her friend anymore. Sorry for being chaotic and venting. That is the end of that story.
My best friend confessed to me right before I got engaged.
This is bad timing, girl.
I, 28 female, have been friends with Ed, 26 male, for 11 years.
Ooh.
He is the closest thing I feel I've had to a soulmate. See Edit too. We can read each other's minds, love all the same things, etc. We attempted to date once a year into our friendship.
Oh, were you reading it as like once a year?
Yeah, I was like, dang, you really tried. But we just wanted different things, and Ed was questioning his identity. Sucked at first, but we managed to move past it into a great friendship. We've both been in multiple dedicated relationships since then. By the way, this comes from Trauma Lore, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Angie.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do, so let us know what you do in the comments. Isn't it funny, the drama that happens only a day or so after a therapy appointment? I have been dating Steve, 29 male, for a year and a half. I have never felt so appreciated and safe in any other relationship. Steve and I are actually going to Greece in a week. It was accidentally spoiled to me a few months ago that he's planning to propose to me. His grandpa got confused and thought it had already happened, congratulating me early. Oops. Maybe we shouldn't have told Grandpa if he has memory troubles. I love imagining and planning a future and family with him. Steve and Ed aren't super close friends, but get along really well. I sometimes feel like the third wheel when they play games or build Legos together. Steve knows of the history of my friendship with Ed. He confidently tells me he doesn't feel threatened at all by Ed, nor has he gotten bad vibes from him. So over the weekend, I went to pick up Ed for a mutual bachelorette party. While waiting for him, his mom came up to me and said, "You need to get back together with Ed." Now, his mom has struggled with Ed's journey with identity. These comments weren't foreign, but it had been a very long time since she'd said anything. We thought she finally caught a clue. As we're driving, I voiced my annoyance at the disrespect. Ed is clearly annoyed too. Fast forward to this morning, Ed invites me to coffee. Not unusual for a Sunday. It is there he says something along these lines to me. The reason Mom brought that up is because I've been struggling with the news you're getting engaged. I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm now scared I'll regret it if I don't. I'm in love with you. I have been the last few years, but I also want to make it clear that I know life isn't a movie. I'm not telling you this so you'll leave Steve. I'm telling you because I feel guilty. I like Steve and can tell you love him. I can tell he's good for you better than I ever could be. Most days, I accept that loving you as my best friend is what's healthiest for you, but sometimes I feel like a snake and hate myself for it. I want you to talk to Steve about this. Please don't hide this from him. I'd be more than happy to talk about it too. I acknowledge the feelings may be louder right now because I'm lonely and you're the safest constant in my life. I don't want to lose you as my best friend. I don't want to steal you from Steve or lose him as a friend, but I also don't want to feel like scum anymore and feel I need to be honest. I promise it's not the only reason we're friends. I would never just keep you around as a backup love interest. Wow.
Wow.
Honestly?
Yeah.
Really good.
I agree.
Really good.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 confession.
Right. I completely agree. He's being very honest. Seems like he's not really holding anything back.
No, he's like, I had to tell you.
Yeah. Just to get it over with.
Don't want to change anything here.
Yeah. I think you guys just need to be aware of it and I'll get over it. Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. That was really good.
Yeah.
Good job, Ed.
Good job, Ed.
You nailed that. I also
Yeah.
really, really appreciated the last thing of this is not why we're friends.
Yes.
'Cause
Me
I
too.
think-
That is important.
Yeah, a lot of times when you have like a guy confessing to a girl, it's
Mhm.
like, oh, you've never actually seen me as your friend. I was always just a love interest.
Exactly. Like you're trying to get there.
Yeah, but
Right.
it's clear. He's like, no. I care about you very deeply as a friend.
Yeah.
It's just also, I'm a little bit in love with you. I do plan to talk to Steve, and knowing him, he'll just be like, oh, okay, and go about his day, trusting both me and Ed's words.
W.
Steve sounds great.
This is great. We got a couple of good guys
Yeah,
here.
a couple of emotionally mature men out here.
Yeah.
But I feel so much dread now. What am I supposed to do? Cut Ed off and lose my best friend forever? Not marry Steve to save my best friend's feelings? Risk it and see how things turn out? I feel terrible because I technically forced this confession out of him by telling him what his mom said. Has anyone had a similar dynamic where everything turned out okay? What is something I should consider? What would you do? Comments. Comment 1. I'll be honest, I don't like your friend.
Well, I don't
I don't like
you.
comment. Looks like he is more afraid of your engagement than actually wants to be with you. If he's known for a couple of years while you were dating your current boyfriend a year and a half, and he didn't do anything to act on those feelings, added pressure from his parents, and suddenly you're the one who got away, not the one he stirred along for years by choosing to end your romantic relationship, but still keeping your soulmate nonsense. And dumping all that rumbling on you before engagement is really low blow. Now it's your problem and somehow your responsibility. This is not friendship, this is codependency, and it's one of your genuine questions is to not marry someone who is supposed to be your life partner just because your friend isn't happy. You already prioritized him over your boyfriend, and it mean you are not ready to marry him. Opie says, I also don't think Ed has been leading me on this whole time. I also clarified to another individual that I believe soulmates are made, not destined. My own self-worth issues aside, prior to this, I was feeling very positive about Steve being a romantic soulmate, rather than a twinning one I feel for Ed. But now I just feel I'm not meant to be with anyone. I feel like trash. Ply says, look, I don't know your situation beyond what you wrote there, and I'm not a qualified professional, but from what I can see, a lot of your self-esteem issues may be related to your so-called best friend. You had strong enough feelings for him to date him almost right away from the start, and called him your soulmate, but he, on the other hand, his feelings towards you weren't as strong as yours, and he decided to end your relationship. It wasn't a mutual decision. It was him looking for the greener pastures and you adapting to his decision by creating that soulmate friendship illusion when you are clearly not over him, but decided to take whatever he can give to you. It's not an equal dynamic, and obviously part of you is feeling not good enough for him to be his romantic partner. Now you have a choice. You can choose to sort out your own feelings. I strongly recommend to book an appointment with a professional therapist for that, and decide what you actually want, or you keep living in limbo and play by his rules. He still didn't offer you any commitment or real relationship, just I'm lonely and now it's kind of your problem. Because he doesn't want a relationship. He said he doesn't want you and Steve to break up.
Commenter, you're stupid.
It's not like he wants to actually date you. He just wants you to be on his side whenever he feels like and be grateful for any chance of attention. Opie says, thank you for your thought out and kind response. Was that kind?
That's such a good response to that. It's
yeah.
just like, thanks for your input.
Thank you so much. So Ed and I have been friends longer than we dated by a long shot. I met him when I was 15. I didn't think he was my romantic soulmate back then, but as our friendship withstood the test of time and the breakup, he grew to be more and more of a soulmate. We've been together way longer than we ever dated. But trust me, I'll continue to talk to my therapist about my self-worth. And now this. Comment 2 says, you lost me when you asked rhetorically if you're supposed to not marry your boyfriend to spare your friend's feelings. If that's even a consideration, I don't think marrying him is a good idea. Reply, she lost me when she described the friend as the closest thing to a soulmate and the fiancé as safe. Edit 1. Okay, to be fair, you guys can't hear the tone in my head when reading all this. The leave Steve part is rhetorical. I don't want to leave Steve. This isn't a matter of who should I choose. There is no romantic choosing. I want to marry Steve, but I also don't want to hurt my friend, and that's what I'm trying to get across. That was clear to me, OP.
Yeah.
That was incredibly clear to me.
I don't know what these commenters are on.
I don't want to hurt my best friend. I don't want to lose the man I want a future with. I'm scared. I want hope. I'm wanting to hear sympathy or advice because I'm panicking. I don't handle loss well, and I'm already constantly dealing with self-worth issues. This makes me feel like I'm not only a bad friend, but also a bad partner for not just guiltlessly wanting to cut Ed off. Edit 2. I believe soulmates are made, not destined. Besides all of my self-worth issues before this happened, I was feeling very confident that Steve would be my romantic soulmate, Ed feeling more like a twinning soulmate due to how long we've been around. I have a lot of relationship anxiety,
which leaves me scared to label Steve as my romantic soulmate until we're years down the road. But I was feeling positive about it prior to the self-hatred that flared up from all this. But since Ed has been there through almost half my life, through lots of good and bad, he feels like a platonic soulmate. And don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. I'm sick of the notion that just because, like, whether or not you're male or female or something, you know, opposite sex friends can be your soulmate.
100%.
By the way, listen to us when we say that you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. I did talk to Steve when he got home. He was as gentle as I thought he'd be. He expressed a lot of faith in Ed, knowing how lonely he'd been and how much he's been struggling with his own loneliness and identity. He knows the amount of emotion that can go into one safe person and how confusing that can be. We talked about boundaries, all of which were reasonable and most already in place. He does plan to talk to Ed just to be that source of support and to talk about trust. I was honest with Steve about my anxieties towards the engagement and how guilty I feel for not easily being able to conclude cutting Ed off. He was very reassuring that it would be okay due to how long Ed had been my BFF. He didn't expect it to be easy, nor did he expect me to cut Ed off. He shared that he has faith in both me and Ed and believes I will come to him if things get uncomfortable and we'll go from there. I want to reassure you all that I do plan to go over this in therapy to discuss things further. A lot of self-hatred and anxiety is bubbling up because of this. Thank you to those who gave kind words and thought-out responses. And that is the end of that story, but I think that you are doing okay, OP, and don't listen to all of those commenters who are coming up with their own thoughts and feelings based off, you know, probably their experiences.
Right. Or TV shows that they've watched.
Yeah.
But it seems like they're just creating problems that don't actually exist.
Exactly.
So
you know your friend and you know Steve best. Yeah. So I think that you are the best person to handle this.
Yeah.
My friend's fiance has been mocking me for years, and I've had enough.
Can't touch me.
For the past 9 years, I've been part of a very tight-knit friend group. My best friend, her fiance, and my fiance. We've always done everything together. Holidays, birthdays, traveling, board game, nights. I even work at the same company as my friend. We met at a different company and she followed me to the new one. We're even planning to buy land and live near each other. Not anymore, but they don't know this yet. By the way, this comes from user Kyranim, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Savannah.
And we're going to give good advice goofily about this here story, but we don't know everything. We only know what we know, so tell us what you know in the comments, as OP says. Her fiance has always mocked me. Things like, wow, what a fat butt. You look like crap. You stupid. Over the years, his comments have made me cry more times than I can count. And I've brought it up with them many times. My friend has tried to talk some sense into him and made him apologize a few times, but the conclusion is always the same. That's just how he is. He jokes and teases everyone. He likes when something interesting is happening. The thing is, he directs it at me the most. Because I'm the perfect target. I actually react, unlike my friend, who doesn't care. He makes me feel inadequate in the worst way. I feel so bad in my own skin when I see myself through his eyes. I've tried everything they told me to do, laugh it off, ignore it, pretend it doesn't hurt. I didn't want to cause drama, and honestly, I was afraid of losing them. They're my only close friends. 2 weeks ago, we went on a workcation together, and as usual, he wouldn't let me fully relax and enjoy myself. But this time, I couldn't swallow it anymore. I was already in a really bad place emotionally and physically. I'm tapering off psych meds that numbed me for over 2 years. Without them, I feel everything 100 times more intensely. His mocking and jokes felt like a knife twisted in my heart. On top of that, I had awful nausea, brain zaps, and dizziness every day.
What's a brain zap?
I think we have brain zaps all the time, you and I. Yeah, sometimes your brain just gets zapped and you're like, what was I thinking about it all? Squirrel.
Oh, well, yeah, that happens.
Yeah. Still, I pushed through. I went on the hikes. I cooked dinner. I made breakfast a couple of times. They know how sick I felt, but he just keeps going as usual. He called me a loser because I hesitated to walk too close to the campfire. I was dizzy and afraid I would lose my balance. In the car after a hike, he complained that my friend was the one looking up restaurants as usual, not me, even though that's untrue. I reminded them that I can't look at my phone in the car without getting sick, and he just said, yeah, same as the rest of us. Yeah, this guy sucks. What? Dude, the way you deal with this guy is you just got to be like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, you got to call him out and be like, oh, what you're saying is really, really funny that everyone's not laughing at it.
Yeah. And he'll go, oh, I'm just joking. He's like, well, why don't you make any of these jokes to other people? It seems like you just come down on me constantly, all the time. Why?
You have a crush on me?
Explain yourself.
I'd make it really awkward.
Yeah.
Do you think I'm hot?
Yeah, make him uncomfortable. Later when we got home, all I wanted was to lie down and relax. And he jokingly threw out, you never do anything, because I hadn't cleaned the pans from the dinner I had cooked for everyone. But that's when I snapped. I told him how much his comments hurt me, how invisible I feel, and he barely listened and literally laughed in my face. My friend overheard everything from upstairs, and instead of supporting me, she said it was funny to listen to us fighting over dirty pans. But by then, it wasn't about dishes anymore. It was about everything. I raised my voice from sheer frustration, and instead of trying to understand me, they both dismissed me. I felt like I was losing my mind. I ended up walking outside and crying, really crying, for the first time in years. Only my fiance followed me out, hugged me, and told me we could just leave. So the next morning, we packed up and went home. They were in shock. After that, I finally realized how different we really are. I'm naturally sensitive, maybe too much, and they're the opposite. We are not compatible. I always feel like I have to hide my true emotions so I don't ruin their good mood or their fun. I tried to talk to my friend about it again afterwards. She said there was no way she could have listened or comforted me that night because I raised my voice. She hates conflict and drama, so when someone shows strong negative emotions, she shuts down.
So she's not a friend then, and she doesn't care.
I'm sorry, strong negative emotions like, I don't know, everything that your fiance is constantly saying to OP?
Right? Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I can't stand up for you because I need to stand up for my my really D-bag of a husband.
Yeah, that's just who he is. Everyone loves that about him, that he's just mean.
He's just so mean and not really funny.
Yeah, it'd be funnier if, it'd be better if they were at least funny. You can be mean and funny, but you can't be just mean. She always defends him. She claims he isn't and will never be an emotional person. She repeats I shouldn't take his words to heart because he treats me like a sister, so the message is always the same. I'm the one who should change. I should ignore him and toughen up and stop caring so much. But that's not who I am. And honestly, why is he allowed to just be himself, but I'm the one who has to change? At this point, I don't even think we're real friends anymore. I've started seeing a therapist, but I just feel so tired, sad, and confused. I'm still scared of losing them, but maybe that would be a good thing. And there is an edit here, but yeah, really quickly, I would say it is a good thing to lose these people.
I agree. They don't seem like they're friends at all. It seems like this guy just you're like his punchy bag for what? Like some people are like that. Some people need to have someone that they can just attack. And
Yeah.
then it's just I don't know what I did to you and I don't know what you want, but this isn't cool, dude. Leave me alone. I don't understand what is your gain here? What's the goal in mind? You want to just make me feel miserable when I'm around you? That's fun for everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It really is just I can't understand the perspective of wanting to stay with someone who does this to someone who's your best friend.
Right? I thought that too. I was if I always see my, fiance or husband, boyfriend, whatever, if I see my partner being mean to one of my friends, I'd be like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're supposed to get on their good side. What? They're not going anywhere. You're the one with the revolving door here. You can either come in or you can go out. But my friends are staying.
Yeah, absolutely. They're the ones telling you need to feel different about it. They're like, no, you're feeling wrong about this. You should just feel different about it. But it's if you're really friends with someone and they come to you and they're like, hey, when you do this, it makes me feel like this. The response is, oh, okay, I will not do that. Not, well, you should change the way you feel about that, idiot. You're wrong about that.
Yeah, that's what manipulative people do.
And we do have an edit. Wow, I didn't expect this to get this many responses. Thank you. You have given me comfort and much to think about. To answer some of the recurring questions, my fiancé has defended me many times. He called out his behavior, insulted him softly, even had to sit down with him once. But none of this ever had any lasting effect. My fiancé is gentle by nature and doesn't like confrontation. He often suggested we make a change, but I was always too afraid of losing my friend. As for why I've been friends with him for so long, it's not like this all the time. They have many good qualities too. We share a passion for similar things: books, video games, traveling, cycling, trekking. We had a lot of fun together over the years. Many good memories. They make me laugh. But almost all of these memories are tainted by moments of hurt, which I've been ignoring for the sake of keeping the peace. But I don't want to do that anymore. And there are some comments. Comment 1, your fiance's friend is a bully straight up. Even kids know that if you make a joke at someone's expense and they categorically tell you it hurts them, the only acceptable response is an apology. Your friend sucks butt too. If my partner did half the crap hers did, I'd be on his butt to either change his behavior or it's over. Whether he was acting like that towards a stranger or someone close to me. The fact that she just expects you to put up with it is gross. Honestly, she probably just puts up with it. I bet you he says stuff like this to her all the time in private, and she just accepts it and puts up with it.
Yeah, because I mean, her response was like, just ignore it, just laugh it off, just like, you know, don't let it get to you. And it's like, but the things that he is saying, it's not like, you know, oh, like, you know, just like making fun and being like, ha ha ha, that's funny. It's like, you're ugly. And it's like, okay. What?
Yeah. Like, I make fun of Keon all the time. I bother him, but I never call him an ugly loser.
Yeah, right? Because who would do that when you're friends?
Yeah. You're not being overly sensitive. You're just at your wit's end. OP says, thank you. I think she just can't imagine how this makes me feel. You told her. You've told her exactly how it makes you feel, and she just doesn't, care.
Yeah, she gives you an alternative and is like, yeah, don't feel like that.
Yeah. There's no way she can't imagine it. She's been told. Perhaps she's more like him than I realized. Just recently, she revealed that she used to say what's on her mind to people, and it didn't even cross her mind that someone could be hurt by her words. She stopped doing that after a year of therapy, but it's pretty telling. Commenter 2 says, tight-knit friend group, nope. True friends would never allow one of them to be bullied or insulted constantly. Time to block them all and find real friends. OP replies, deep down I know all of you are right that they are not true friends, and I'm going to distance myself from them, but as to finding new friends, that feels impossible. I don't really know how. I find it hard to connect to people. Go rock climbing. Not even kidding.
It's true. Go
Find a
rock
local
climbing.
rock climbing gym and go rock climbing. You will make a new friend. You can.
Literally, that's like more than half my friends here are rock climbing. I met from rock climbing. And like, they're just great.
It's true.
It's just a really good community. They're so cool.
It's true.
Like, no one, I've not met one single mean person there. I'm sure there are some like mean people, but like 9 times out of 10, they're really welcome and open and will like be like, oh yeah, like do this or try this. Like people love it.
They're
Such a
straight up
community.
just friendly and cool. Keep that in mind. Comment 3 says, I'm sorry, but these aren't the actions of friends. That's gone past the point of playful banter and into just straight up high school bullying. Friends shouldn't be making their friends feel like crap. Even if he is just the type of person to playfully rib people, although from your descriptions of what he said, he's way past the point of playful ribbing. As soon as he found out that it was getting to you, he should have stopped. He's a piece of crap for treating you like that, and your friend isn't any better. She's excusing it for the benefit of a quiet life for herself. She's okay with you being made to feel like crap, but isn't okay with you standing up for yourself. You don't need people like that in your life. I'm so sorry that happened to you. You're not too sensitive, OP. They're just a-holes. OP says, thank you. It feels so good to see someone siding with me for a change. Comment 4, also, if it's just about the dishes, why didn't they clean up after you cooked? Why is that your problem when you cooked while feeling bad? And why is it okay for them to make fun of you for making sure you don't, fall into the fire when they know you're off balance? Was this trip your idea? With how you're feeling, I'm surprised you wanted to do that. Just wondering if you were pressured into going to split costs and do a little of the cooking and cleaning. I hope the trips are generally shared work, but the mention of cooking and then expecting you to clean made me wonder. OP says this trip was planned and paid for months in advance. Plus, I didn't know I would be feeling this bad after the withdrawal. My friend and fiance cook and clean as well, so I wanted to do my part. Comment 5 says, she's not your friend. If I heard my husband once mock a friend or a family member, that would be the last time he would do it. Do yourself a favor and stop being friends with them. I wonder how he treats her when no one is around. OP says, I was thinking about this the other day. If the roles were reversed, I would leave my fiance immediately. He does mock her often, but as I've mentioned, she doesn't really mind, and he treats her like a princess most of the time. I'm beginning to suspect she likes that he's a bad boy that treats her sweetly. And did OP grow up in a toxic environment because of her tolerance for this behavior? Yeah, I actually did, says OP. My father had anger issues and constantly belittled my mother and brother. He was gentler with me, but I was burned a few times too. And we have an update a month later. Yeah, I think we are past the expiration date of this friendship.
Yeah. I mean, what are you really getting out of it? It's just like, they're like, oh, like, they're my friends. Like, just to say that they're your friends, because everything that you've told us is not a friendship. Like, they want you to change. They don't want you to stick up for yourself. They want you to, like, just push everything under the rug. It's like, what kind of friend is that?
Like, I
Yeah.
want my friend to be there for me when I'm feeling bad. Like, the fact that you ran outside and, like, you know, was crying and your friend didn't run out after you and be like, are you okay? Like, my husband is going to apologize to you. Like,
Yeah.
that should have been the first response. But instead, she's like, I don't know, she's always like this, or she's just dramatic.
Yeah,
blah,
she's
blah, blah.
just
And
so
it's
silly and emotional, that one.
Yeah,
It's
these people
meanwhile,
suck.
you're being insulted by your husband constantly, and you're just like, he's so sweet.
yeah,
It's crazy.
these people are dumb.
It's wild what we can convince ourselves of in our own heads. Because he's probably not sweet to her, really.
Oh, no, definitely
Like-
not. If he treats like women like this, yeah, no, she lets it happen.
Anyways, there is an update. I have officially ended things with my friend and her fiance. I took all your advice to heart, talked to my therapist, and did a lot of self-reflecting. But the thing that really convinced me to do it was this. I didn't see them for over a month, barely messaged them, and it was the most peaceful month I'd had in years. I didn't miss them at all. I felt calm and alive. I felt almost happy. Recently, I attended a work team building event for the first time without my friend, and it was amazing. I never had this much fun on previous events. I talked to people and laughed and socialized, and people wanted to talk to me too. 2 guys said they wished they got to know me sooner, that I'm a great person. It was shocking how much at peace I felt when I didn't have to perform or manage her feelings and worry about her discomfort, because she disliked these events and the work people. Oh man, sounds like you were just friends with a loser. That's the loser.
Loser group.
There's a little bit left of this story. Yeah, you're about to have the best friend group glow up of all time.
Yeah. That's how I actually realized that I needed to break up with my ex. When I told him, I was like, I don't want to talk for like a week. He was like, okay, blah, blah, blah. And it was the most peaceful time ever. And I was like, okay, yeah, I need to end this. Like, it was like that clear. And so I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I felt way better without you.
Yeah, I was like, whew, why do I like not feel on edge? Oh, yeah, so I'm not being berated.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta take that distance. Yesterday, I told her the truth, that I've been feeling better ever since I've distanced myself from them. She got defensive and hurt, blamed me for saying such a hurtful thing, said goodbye, and then blocked me. I do feel bad about that. The old guilt and people-pleasing instinct has booted up, but I know I did the right thing. I just wanted to thank everyone who gave me advice in the original post. And we have some more comments to finish it off. Oh no, she understands what hurt feelings are. Good for you. Toxic friends like these suck the fun out of life. Update me when her fiance tries to talk some crap. Opie says he actually wanted to come over tomorrow to collect his games, but my fiance told him he'll drop these over at a mutual friend's place. He would have talked crap for sure. Commenter 2 says, I would also block her back everywhere you might have her so that she can't control communication with you. And block her partner too. Have your partner block both of them as well. And then go on living your best life without them dragging you down. Amen, sister. That's the end of that story.
So that was a healthy outcome. Good for you, OP.
Absolutely. The healthiest of all time. You look like a big crown of broccoli. You're so healthy.
Aw, broccoli head.
Broccoli.
Broccoli head.
Baby ranch.
Baby ranch on broccoli.
And that's a deep cut for those folks out there who are aware of Baby Ranch. But that is the end of that story. And
Didn't tell my fiance about my hysterectomy. Now he thinks I'm keeping secrets.
you did that.
So, I'm late 20s female, and my fiance, early 30s male, let's call him Carlos, are still fighting about this, and it was already 2 weeks ago. By the way, this comes from user throwaway IF up. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do, so pretty please let us know what you do in the comments. As OP says, when I was 21, I had a partial hysterectomy due to
Adenomyosis.
It was very painful, and my doctor spent 2 years fighting for the approval because many people were against the idea. Yeah, especially 21. Is that really young for that? For like a hysterectomy?
Yeah.
That's like really,
But I
really
mean,
young.
hysterectomies are usually you've got some other.
Well, what is adenomyosis? Is that like Adina Menzel?
That's what John Travolta was trying to say.
Oh, that's why they had a hysterectomy, because it was like, let it go.
Stop.
Let your uterus go.
Stop.
You have adenomyosis. You have to do that.
I can't protect you.
La da da, la da da.
Adenomyosis is a condition where the uterine lining tissue grows into the muscular wall of the uterus, causing it to thicken, enlarge, and bleed internally during periods, leading to severe cramps, heavy bleeding, pelvic pain, bloating, and potential infertility.
Dang.
Often improving after menopause, with treatment ranging from pain relief and hormonal therapy to surgery like hysterectomy.
It was after menopause. That's crazy because, again, OP, very young.
Got it
20s.
early. It's probably the microplastics.
I didn't mind losing my uterus because, 1, it was very painful, like we just learned. And 2, I was always child-free, even as a kid. I didn't like kids.
And we love.
I met Carlos 3 years ago. I told him on day 1 that I was child-free and completely sterile. He said he was child-free too, so we went ahead with the relationship.
So you told him straight up, I am completely sterile.
And he also said, me toi.
So it doesn't really matter. Like, this is. I was much more in the camp of like, yeah, if you got your uterus removed without letting your husband know at all, that would be a secret. But you did it before you guys even knew each other, right?
Well,
is that what I'm seeing?
A very beginning. On day 1, day uno.
Yeah.
Carlos proposed in September, and we started slowly planning the wedding. I never told him about the hysterectomy itself.
Whitney Anderson says, it's crazy the things our uterus tries to do to us. It is. It's true. But when you think about it, that's a pretty crazy organ. Literally, life factory.
The human body is crazy. The anatomy of the human body is crazy.
So, an elephant, too. Elephants got crazy anatomy.
We'll talk about that later.
Arguably crazier than people.
I did not hide it on purpose. It honestly just slipped my mind because I already told him I could not get pregnant. My mom did not know about the engagement because she was out of the country taking care of her elderly sister, and I wanted to tell her in person. She came back 3 weeks ago. After she rested for a week, we invited her to lunch so we could tell her all about it. Carlos is a prankster, but the weird kind. While we were eating and before I could show my mom the ring, he grabbed her hand and said, I'm sorry, my mom. I impregnated your daughter. My mom burst out laughing.
Oh, no.
She then looked at me and said, either you are about to get rich or you grew a new uterus.
Wait, why are you about to get rich?
Cause you're the Mother Mary.
Because you're the next Mother Mary? That her mind immediately went to, all right, you're Mother Mary too. Let's make some money off of this.
I laughed too, haha. And I said, I hope not, because I had talked to half the doctors in the country and their grandma's first time. Carlos stared at me and said, what do you mean?
What do you mean by that? This ain't grandma's first time.
And then my mom said, the hysterectomy, of course, you silly goose. Carlos said he had never heard about it. My mom laughed again and asked how he did not know. I said I guess I never brought it up because I do not think about it anymore.
Well, you said you were sterile.
And he didn't ask any follow-up questions.
No bebinos.
Did he not take you seriously? Was he like, oh, she just doesn't want kids?
Maybe he just thought you were clean. She's like, yeah, I'm sterile. I keep everything very clean, so I'm not going to have any children. He's like, well, I don't know exactly how those two things align, but I guess I'm not really looking for kids either.
All I'm going to say is, now this is awkward. We were quiet for a second. Then I showed my mom the ring and we celebrated. After she left, Carlos confronted me and asked why I never told him about the surgery. I told him I had told him the important part, which was that I was sterile. He said the issue was the principle, and if I could keep something so big to myself for years, what else could I hide?
What are you talking about? She told you.
Brother, day 1, she said, I'm sterile. You just didn't ask, like, how and why.
She said, give me the details. Do you have all your organs?
That'd be like if someone who like had, I don't know, you know what? I couldn't think of a really
I
good
got
one.
you right now. It'd
I
be
was
like
gonna
if a
say
guy...
someone who lost their arm, but they were like, yeah, my arm like doesn't work anymore. And then someone was like, years later, they was like, I didn't realize you didn't have an arm though.
I don't...
that didn't work
that
though,
did
so
not
I like
work
gave
very
up.
well.
But I had to.
You
tell
tried.
anyway.
You know what? I give
tried.
you the A for
I was
effort.
trying to get.
I was just going to do mine with balls.
Here, do yours.
Go with yours.
It's like a guy being like, yeah, I'm sterile. And because your balls are gone. And then they'd be like, well, you didn't tell me your balls are gone. It's like, I kind of did when I told you I'm sterile. What does it matter?
You asked me to cough and you didn't feel anything. I feel like that is unfair for me. I shared the relevant part at the moment, and later I just didn't think about it. I was not trying to keep secrets. I simply didn't think the medical details were relevant once we already agreed on being child-free. So now we want outside opinions. Am I the a-hole for not telling him about the hysterectomy, or is he overreacting? He has read this post and approved it, so this is not only my point of view. And we have some comments. Dakota, do we think OP is an a-hole.
No.
No, absolutely not. Even if there was no hysterectomy, you told him you were sterile and you were you're child free. That's the main point across. I don't know why he's upset about that. You told him on day one.
Guy's just a silly goose.
He just didn't read between the lines.
Yeah, the Amber Lamp says infertile and sterile are two separate things. Infertile means it don't work right. Sterile means it ain't there.
We do have some comments here. Comment number 1. He's a prankster, but not in a weird way. Him. Fake pregnancy joke. That's kind of, yeah, like...
Yeah, that's kind of a weird vibe to bring to like me and your daughter are getting married. I knocked her up.
You're a grandmama.
It's like, oh, we only get to do this one time. You want to do that?
Also, that's the wave you're going to announce that you were married is you're going to be a grandma. Reply. I'm now left wondering what OP classifies as a weird joke if this seems normal to her. Comment number 2. What exactly does he think sterile means? And there was a reply. Yeah, there is a big difference between sterile and infertile, just like the Amber Lamps just said. Also, I had a hysterectomy due to endometriosis when I was 22. Wow, that's young too. Even though I wasn't planning on having kids, there's still a lot of pain and suffering that led up to that moment. I don't know why OP's partner never asked or cared to learn about her past experiences with adenomyosis. Just odd. He seems angrier than she is sterile, rather than wanting to understand or being compassionate about why she needed a histo to begin with at 21. That's a emoji on OP's partner's part, in my opinion. Edit, I came back and there were so many responses. I'll make a quick edit to clarify some things. How did you forget to tell him this? It was a very traumatic experience, and everyone and their mother looked at my private parts, my uterus actually. I felt embarrassed for a long time and pushed the experience deep enough till I forgot about it. Why didn't you tell him? At first, because I wasn't about to trauma dump on a dude I've known for 2 hours, and I'm just a very quiet person on our first date. I said maybe 50 words. I'm more talkative now, at least, with him, but I like my privacy and to keep things that I feel deeply personal just to myself unless it is relevant to something.
Why didn't you tell him all of your trauma? Immediately, why didn't you tell him all your trauma?
Edit number 2.
Say, hi, I'm OP. My uterus is gone. It's nice to meet you. What are we going to order at this restaurant?
Do you want breadsticks or salad? Or both? Hey, now that we have time to read some of the responses together, we want to clarify some other things. 1. Carlos, did you know the difference between sterile and infertile? Apparently not. I thought it was the same meaning, not able to have babies. 2. How did he not notice she didn't have a period? To be fair, we haven't been living together for that long, 5 months, and he thought I had PCOS like his sister. 3. Are you really child-free, or did you think you'll change your mind after the wedding? Response, no. I am child-free and was even thinking about getting a vasectomy just to be even more safe. 4. How didn't he notice any scars / hormone therapy, etc.? Well, I don't have any scars from the procedure that was done on my private parts, so the scarring is on the inside. I don't need hormones, at least not yet. I still have my ovaries, and they're healthy at the moment. And for the people saying that I should have just told them in case of an emergency, you're right. And I also never thought about that part. We'll update once we had our session with the couple's counselor because I feel there are things that are better to discuss with a professional. And we have an update. I mean, this is actually really good that there were like a lot of questions and they both responded. And
yeah, I like that we're getting both of their
yeah
insight into both of them.
Yeah.
I hope that now this should all be straightened out now. I don't think you really have a leg to stand on to be upset at your partner because they told you immediately. This is literally just a failure of your own intelligence.
And also just talking to your partner. I think OP did say, and if Carlos was more invested or had a couple more questions, I feel like OP would have been okay with answering those questions, but it seems like, okay, day one, we had talked about it and it's all good, but now it's come up. It's very weird.
It almost sounds borderline like,
I think
type like red pill type entitlement of like, well, it's more of the principle. It's like, even though you were going to get a vasectomy, you're like, oh, it's the principle that you never told me you have no uterus.
But again, it's like
you were told. Immediately.
Yeah,
you were told.
It's how he reacted, which is very weird. What else could you hide from me, huh?
I have $100 million of gold doubloons buried in my backyard. I'm hiding from the federal government.
We have an update. We had our session yesterday, and I think I'm ready to post an update and clarify some things. We decided to write it from my point of view because we tried doing it from both of ours, and it was confusing to understand. First of all, for the people who said that since I still have my ovaries, we can still have kids. What is wrong with y'all? You need more than just that. Go on the internet and look that up before you start posting and calling people out on stuff.
A lot of people who don't know stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of people who don't know stuff in this story.
That's not how child-free people work. We don't want children, period. For the people asking why I don't have any scars, I don't know what to tell you. It's not something I want to discuss with anyone, but they made an incision in my belly button. We decided not to talk much about any of this until we were with the therapist and some things came to light. The first thing Carlos did was apologize. Good. And explain why he was so upset. He said he wasn't really mad at me for not telling him, but he was hurt because it felt like a long time he had to force information out of me. When I finally started sharing things willingly, he was excited and thought we were on the same page about everything. But when he found out about the surgery, he felt insecure and like an outsider because it felt like it was always my mom and me and then him. He also said he felt embarrassed and dumb because he assumed what sterile meant and ran with it instead of asking for an explanation. He said it was more insecurity than anything. And he apologized again for how he handled his feelings instead of communicating with me. He also apologized for the pregnancy joke and said he was anxious because he really likes and respects my mom, but he wasn't sure if she accepts him, and in a moment of nervousness, he tried to lighten the mood with a joke that failed horribly. For my part, I also apologize for not sharing this with him and for being so cold and distant sometimes. I told him I love him so much and I really want to spend the rest of my life with him, and I reassured him that I will always tell him things about me, even if they don't seem very exciting or important. After our session, we went home and shared every single stupid thing about each other, so there are no more secrets. I knew almost all of them because Carlo is Mr. Oversharer, but I found out he broke his little toe when he was 7, and he was surprised that I still have all 4 of my wisdom teeth intact. That's kind of cute, that you're gonna tell literally every little thing.
I broke my toe when I was 7. Do you still like me, or does that give you the ick?
We decided to postpone the wedding planning until the holiday season is over and just enjoy everything, then start over in January. By the way, you can start now by listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to your favorite podcast app, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and searching up OK Storytime.
You could start immediately. There's nothing to stop you.
There's a little bit left. I think all worked out. This is a lesson, and then I think you guys learned a lesson of let's just talk about things. And he said he was insecure. I think this is a great update. You even postponed the wedding just to you know what? Let's just chill. We don't have to rush this. It's cute.
Yeah.
Good job, Carlos.
I think this ended up for the best. I think Carlos, was for a little bit there, he was doing the car most, but now he's doing the car correct amount.
Truck.
He's doing the correct amount.
Oh, we don't want him to get in the car wrecked?
Comedian
Oh,
over
no.
there. Let's go ahead and finish up the story. I called my mom, and she's coming over for dinner on Sunday, so we can redo the whole engagement announcement. I know a lot of people told me I wasn't in the wrong, and that I didn't owe him any explanation. I think some privacy is always necessary in any relationship, but I want to feel close to him too. And it's not like I was really hiding things on purpose, so I don't mind sharing if it makes him feel the love I have for him. I think that's all. We really appreciate all the input and the different perspectives we got here. We'll continue with couples counseling for as long as it takes. Happy holidays to y'all.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy Honda
Happy
days.
holidays.
Speaking of Carlos, happy Honda days. Well, we got another story coming right up.
My fiance lied about my family for years, and it blew up at Thanksgiving.
It's when all the drama comes out.
I'm sitting in my pajamas, fuming about this whole thing, and my fiance is acting like he holds no equal footing here. I need to know I'm not crazy. And by the way, this comes from user preference OK449, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
And I'm Sophia, and that's Vincent.
And we are here to give you good advice, goofily. We don't have all the answers, we only know what we do. Little meatballs, little goofy meatball people. So we're going to tell you what we do, and you can tell us what you do in the comments.
Did you just call us meatball people?
Maybe a little bit.
even eat
Goofy
meat.
meatballs. When I was about 4 years old, my parents introduced me to their friend Rose. She started spending a lot of time with us and eventually moved in. They were always very close friends, and she was very good to me, but I didn't think anything weird of it. A lot of people I knew lived with families, so I thought it was like that. When I was a preteen, they explained to me that they were all together. Not polyamory or a sister wives situation, but Rose was in love with and dating both my parents.
What?
Hey, Chief, you want to run that one by me one more time?
What if Keon went up to you one day and was like, "Hey Dakota, by the way, I'm dating your mom."
And dad.
I'd be like, not very cool of you, man.
Call me Papa.
But he's also dating you still.
I'd be like, you're dating my whole family, including me.
Yeah.
That seems a little greedy.
He's gonna start like finding siblings you didn't know you had to and being like, and this sibling, and this sibling. He's gonna make siblings just so that he can date them.
Oh.
Not him
Whoa!
make them. Not him make them.
Whoa! Whoa!
Sorry guys, I'll go jump off the roof.
Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to imply that. I can't stop thinking about that.
Cool.
Ew.
I hope that haunts your nightmares. I hope that overtakes your treasure hunt dreams.
My gold? Yeah,
Your
it's
gold.
just gonna be, I'm gonna dig a hole and it's gonna be a little boy. Like, hello, please help me. And I was like, oh, God, get away from me.
Is the little boy Keon?
It looks like Keon. Anyway, what were we talking about? Yeah, Rose is dating both of OP's parents. It was a little jarring, but I accepted it, and honestly, it didn't change much. Rose was still one of the people who helped me with homework, pitched in with dinner, taught me how to ride a bike, etc. Rose taught her how to ride a bike, which that's a little wild to me, not gonna lie. She was there
That's
for
the wild
yeah.
part.
I don't know. It's just like, not only is this like, yeah, I'm dating both of your parents. Also, don't give up, champ. We can handle this without training wheels.
You'll take the training wheels up soon.
Yeah. Oh, man. She was there for every big moment, even the sad ones. The only thing that changed is they started kissing one another in front of me, but nothing gross, just the typical parent pecks or whatever. I knew this wasn't the norm for every family. My friends were fine with it when they found out. Not all of their parents were as understanding or accepting, but we were old enough that we could see each other outside of our homes, and it didn't impact me a whole lot socially. Twice I had a boyfriend who found it weird, but it was revealed early on in our relationship, so it wasn't a huge heartbreak. I've been with my fiance for the past 3 years, and we've been engaged for 1. When we started dating, I explained my parents, and he was cool with it. He's hung out with them and spent holidays with us. His family lives across the country, and they haven't been able to fly out to visit much. We've only afforded 1 trip there since I started dating. The first time I was meeting them, I asked my boyfriend to tell his parents about my parents and Rose and let me know what they said. He told me that they were completely fine with it. He did not say that. He did not bring that up. Calling that right now. Like Babe Ruth, pointing to the bleachers. That guy did not say that. And so what are our parents like? Normal, fine, and there's 2 of them? That's what he said.
Only 2?
Only 2? There was 2?
You need like whispers.
2. They're only what?
Only
whatever.
2 there are.
Freaking Yoda Star Wars quote. I'm just going to start saying that.
Yoda's Star Wars quote.
Yeah. Every time we saw each other, it never really came up specifically, but I would mention Rose in passing, and no one batted an eye, so I figured all was fine. This year, his parents were able to fly out for Thanksgiving. My fiance and I were hosting. My parents and Rose were coming too. Again, I thought not much of it. Everyone's under one roof. Everything's nice and merry. Then at some point, I went to check on food, and when I came out, things were noticeably awkward. Fiance's parents, my parents, and Rose all looked uncomfortable. Fiance looked annoyed. I asked what's wrong, but no one would tell me. I awkwardly announced it was time to eat, and the meal was quiet. Outside, my parents and Rose engaging with me. Fiance's parents left for their hotel as soon as we finished eating and didn't bother to stay for dessert. I was even more confused. My mom eventually pulled me into the other room and explained that while I was checking on the food, she, my father, and Rose were talking about a trip they were taking. Fiance's parents looked confused, and his mom asked, "Rose is going with you?" My mom had said, "Of course," which seemed to disturb them. My mom then explained that they were all in a relationship together, and that further disturbed them. She told me she was hurt I lied, that his parents were okay with them. It wouldn't have changed that they came, but they would have been more careful not to make it awkward. I told them I didn't lie at all. My fiance told me they were okay with it. She apologized for accusing me, and I apologized she went through that. She, my dad, and Rose left not long after. My fiance and I got into a huge argument after this. He said he didn't know how to tell them, so he just didn't.
Hi.
Give me my blue ribbon, folks. Make me the prize hog.
Call him Wilbur. The way he's winning that prize hog prize.
From that, what was
From
that?
that movie.
From that
What was
book
that
about
movie
the
with
spider,
the
Charlotte's Web.
Charlotte's Web spider.
What was that book called? With the spider named Charlotte who writes in her web?
Wilbur's pig.
Yeah.
Wilbur's Mud.
Yeah.
Wilbur's Mud.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
The life and times of Wilbur Pig.
The Secret Life of Wilbur the Pig. Okay. I told him he's been lying to me for 2.5 years and put everyone in an uncomfortable position. I asked what his parents thought, and he had told them Rose was my aunt who lived with them to save on rent.
So then why were they so confused, though, that she was going on vacation with them?
Yeah, they're like,
Like, why'd they question, like, your aunt's going on vacation with
yeah,
them?
isn't she broke and saving money on rent right now?
I feel like it's not really the craziest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you really should have just, I don't know, told the truth, Mr. Boyfriend here.
Hey, just a heads up here. Rose
Yeah.
is dating him.
Come on, man. I asked him what he expected to happen. My parents and Rose aren't making out in people's faces, but when they're in what they assume are safe spaces, they act like they're in a relationship. He claims it's all on his parents for being weirded out and making it awkward. I said, no, this is on him. He lied to everyone and made it terrible for everyone. Sure, his parents could have acted normally, and they are at fault for not recovering and trying to have a nice meal, but he's still more at fault. He just doubled down and said he didn't do anything wrong. That's not true. You didn't do anything, and that's what was wrong.
Yeah.
You were supposed to have done something. He is now mad at me and says that I shouldn't be blaming him for this and instead should just be mad at his parents. I am just so confused and lost and wondering if I'm going crazy by being mad at him. And there is an update, but let's hear what the ladies have to say about this one. Huh, fellas? Carly, Sophia.
This is crazy.
This is crazy.
Crazy with a capital C and a
That
capital
rhymes
R
with
and a
T,
lowercase
that
a.
stands for pool.
And that stands for pool.
There's trouble right here in River City.
You're right about that. You're right about that.
Yeah, that's weird. Like, one, I feel like that would be something that I would be like, Mom, guess what?
Yeah.
And like, then they could have had 2.5 years to sit with that and be okay with it. Like,
Yeah.
get past your feelings. It's not your relationship kind of thing.
Exactly.
But to be hit with that, like, in the midst of something like this big dinner thing that's going on, that's like hard to just adjust and bounce back really quick. Should give him a
Yeah.
heads up, dude.
that is
Yeah.
a supremely awkward situation.
Said you had 2.5 years ago.
I wouldn't know how to proceed here.
Are you breaking up?
I would strongly consider it, not just because he lied for 2.5 years, but also because of how he reacted after that reveal.
Yeah. I don't know if I would jump right to break up, but there would have
wouldn't-
to be like
yeah.
a massive conversation about
I
it.
would at least be thinking about postponing that marriage.
Well, we do have an update.
Oh no.
We don't have to postpone that. Let's get into it. Hey, everyone. So I'm here with an update. Before I got into how the talk with my fiance's parents went, I want to answer some questions that a lot of you kept asking. Why didn't I tell his parents myself about my parents and Rose? This was a decent point. Is it? Didn't you only meet them like
Wait.
once?
Also, I'm reading some of the comments. They went back and clarified that Rose is not her aunt, right?
Yeah.
Like we didn't just leave the parents
No,
off
no.
on like, and they're in a
Maybe
relationship
that's
with
why.
Rose.
Maybe
who's
that's
their
why they were so
aunt?
disgusted.
Right. I'm like, maybe they
They-
just didn't get the clarification that Rose, hey, remember how I told you that Rose was her aunt? Not actually true. That was a lie for 2.5 years.
Yeah, they're like,
Like,
you're
if
in
this
a
all
relationship
came
with your
out-
sister?
Right. And he's like, so one of you is dating your sister? That's kind of strange.
That could make a lot of sense out of how extreme their reaction
Right.
was.
It's like, I'm in love with my brother-in-law. You're in love with your brother, the one from the army? You know that voice thing? Does anyone know what that is?
I can't. That sounds vaguely familiar.
I'm going to look it up and then we'll come back.
Okay. This was a decent point. While I still don't believe it is my fault for what occurred, I do understand the point of view that this was my situation and my family, and it's something we should have done together. I guess when it comes to situations like this, people's parents finding out about my own, usually friends do it for me. They usually ask me permission before our families meet, and I say yes. I thought it'd be easier if my fiance told them before our arrival, so it wasn't just me word vomiting. Hi, nice to finally meet you. By the way, my parents are in a polycule. But looking back, yes, I should have offered to tell them as a couple. That being said, if he felt that uncomfortable doing it alone, I wish he would have told me, instead of lying to you for
Yeah.
2.5 years.
That's ultimately, it's not like how it happened or like what was said. It's just like the fact that he lied.
Yeah, and then he's just like, this is fine. I never have to reveal that they don't know because maybe our parents will never, ever meet. That makes perfect sense.
Also, it's from Arrested Development.
Haven't seen it.
Nor have I.
Do his parents think my parents and Rose are related? I really feel stupid for not thinking about this at the time. In my family, aunt is a term used loosely. It doesn't mean parent's sister. I have a lot of aunts and uncles that aren't related to my parents biologically, but we're close, and they were influential figures in my life, thus the titles. So when I found out they assumed Rose was an aunt, my mind just went to family friend, but realizing they probably thought this was a flowers in the attic type situation, no wonder they freaked out. I feel dumb for not even considering this.
Because from the parents' end of things, they're like, wow, our son and his future wife are so okay with their parents dating their cousins.
Nah, I can't really be doing
Their
that.
siblings, direct
Can't
siblings.
really be doing that in the family, you know?
Yeah, I could see how that one would be a bit more of a shock than just, hey, they're in the polycule.
They're in a polycule and they are related.
Yeah.
Some have said that this situation is unusual. And even if they don't assume this is a Folgers coffee holiday commercial, it's
Oh
natural
my god.
that they may need
Oh
a
my
minute
God.
to process or that they may never accept it at all. Many asked about religious or cultural reasons. His family isn't religious or from a conservative culture. That being said, I understand why this is odd to people and why they may need a minute or have a hard time accepting it even without those factors. I got protective of my parents and Rose in the moment, especially seeing how hurt my mom was. Yes, she's used to it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't sting when you're rejected. We're all human. At the end of the day, everyone is entitled to their own opinions. I am also entitled to my feelings. I totally understand not everyone will accept my family. That doesn't mean I'm not allowed to be hurt by it. If I can't police anyone else's feelings, that goes twofold. Someone asked, what if you never found a partner who accepted this? Or what if you never found a partner whose family did? The truth is, I don't need their family to accept it. Just be respectful. As for a partner, I thought I had found one who was. And even if I never did, I'd rather have my family any day. Anyways, on to the update. As per point number 2, I realized the context they were lacking may be playing a part. Yeah, honestly, if they think your parents are doing cousin loving, that's a whole different ballpark. Earlier this morning, I texted and asked if we could meet up and talk. They were all for it. I went without my fiancé, and we still weren't really talking. We met for breakfast, and the first thing I asked was for them to give their side. As most expected, the weirdness and judgment they were giving was because they assumed Rose was my mom's sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that, like, it makes total sense. And I judged them way less for being judgmental after I put together that they thought that it was a sibling.
Right. After that realization, it's just an, oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You should be a little upset about that.
Yeah, that one, I think you can be upset.
So they actually seemed relieved when I explained the whole story and are supportive. They want to properly re-meet my family, which I said was sweet. I didn't want to get into the whole, I don't know where your son and I stand issue, as that wasn't their problem.
Can you imagine? They're like, phew, yeah, we're actually also in a polycule with our son's friend.
Woo, yeah, no, that's
That's a relief. Same.
you're not gonna believe this.
We're actually also dating Rose.
However, his mom did clarify, so your fiance knew the real story this whole time and lied? I was honest and said yes. I said maybe I should have made sure he actually told them, but his dad interrupted and said if he promised to tell them, then it was on him to say it. They were both very disappointed in him. They actually said what a lot of you did. Even if he lied for all this time, he should have spoken up when things got awkward and smoothed out the situation, or even grabbed me too. They felt even worse, but I told them it wasn't their fault. Given the context, I don't blame them for acting weird. The meeting ended on a positive note. We were all supposed to have lunch later, but given everything with my fiancé, I didn't feel great about going, so I had him go alone. I told his parents ahead of time, and they understood. When fiancé came back from lunch, he apologized. He said he wasn't sure how to tell them and kept meaning to. Unless you just own this, bro, I'm like not accepting your apology because that's
Right.
BS.
I need to stop with this, like, well, it was like a hard thing to do. How did you expect me to do? Then voice that you don't know how, and I'll help you.
Yeah, I expected you to tell me that you
Like-
can't do it.
I don't expect you to just lie to me for 2.5 years instead.
And it would have just kept going forever and ever and ever and ever
Yeah.
if he could have kept it.
Yep.
He was also hoping that it would naturally come up. I pointed out it wasn't that he just didn't tell them, he actively lied. Of course, they never suspected Rose was anything more than an aunt in my stories because that's the lie he planted. He was sincere in his apology, but then he mentioned he got a tongue thrashing from his parents, and I wonder if he would have apologized had they not told him what a silly little goose he was.
I'm sorry, tongue thrashing is crazy.
That's the least crazy thing in this story. I'm gonna be so real with you right now, Keon. That the least crazy thing.
I said I understood if he felt weird about telling them, but he should have told me. We could have navigated it together. Instead, he let it explode, then did nothing to help clean it up, nor take accountability until his parents scolded him. He made my parents and Rose look bad, made me look worse, and most importantly, he lied to me and his parents for 2.5 years. How am I supposed to trust him again about anything? I listed some of the examples you gave. He got quiet and said he understood, but he wanted to rebuild trust. I asked if he was really okay with my family dynamic, and he insisted he was. He says he loves my family and really has no issues. He just didn't know how to tell them. I said, I want to believe him, but you can never fully trust a liar again. He asked what we could do to fix this. I said I needed time, and he offered counseling, and I said I would consider it. We had started planning our wedding a few weeks ago, but that has been put on hold indefinitely. I had been living with him since the engagement, but I'm back with my parents and Rose for now. I have to decide if this is something I can live with going forward. It's only been a few hours, so I genuinely have no idea if I can forgive him and move on. But by the way, I'll tell you where you can listen for a lot of hours.
So many.
Like 1,700 hours.
Like 90 days worth of hours.
Go to your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, and search OK Storytime, and there you can listen to our entire archive of episodes, full of stories just like this.
3 months.
And there is a little bit left to this story. I think you're going to need a little time to process this.
Yeah, I don't think that postponing the wedding is the worst thing. Just to like wrap your head around all of this. This was a lot. Found out you've been lied to for 2.5 years. It's crazy.
What else would he be willing to lie about? This is a very particular circumstance, which is the only reason I'm like, yeah, well, you should never trust that guy again. It's like, if there's one thing that you might be like unable to tell your parents, it's that, yeah, my girlfriend's parents, there's 3 of them. But you should have just been like, dude, I can't freaking tell them.
Keon, if you hear aunt, do you think blood relative or close family friend that you call aunt?
Blood relative.
Yeah, I think the default is you would think that it's a relative, but
Like,
I have aunts and uncles the same way. But
Yeah. But
Yeah,
then, like,
I
I
think
would
we all
never
do.
introduce them as like, oh yeah, that's my uncle, and then not be like, but I mean, not really, but more like a family
I
friend.
do that all the time. Like, yeah, that's my like uncle, or like that's my
Yeah,
cousin. But,
I
like,
only
that's not
was-
really my cousin.
I was specifically asking Keon because I met so many people when we were in the Philippines that he was like, this is like auntie, but she's not my aunt. So I wasn't sure if your brain went different than mine.
Yeah, no, my brain was like kind of like I was gonna say, yeah. When the first thing you asked me, what's the first thing that comes to mind is blood relative. But then I would go on to be like, I have a lot of family that's not really like blood related, but I always say like that's not my aunt, like, or that's not my blood family.
Yeah,
And,
like I
that
called
is
some
my blood
cousins
family.
aunts, but my brain never backtracks and goes, oh, maybe they're just like close friends or other family. Like it always
Yeah.
goes blood relative in my
Yeah,
head.
I'll always stay on that assumption. And Cassandra in the comments says, I can't imagine going through life with a partner that just sweeps everything under the rug and lies point blank to your face for years. I don't think he's swept everything, and I don't think it's necessarily a point blank lying to your face every day for years. I think it's just like in a moment you go, yeah, no, I totally did. And then it's like, well, that doesn't ever really come up ever again.
Yeah.
So it's not like a concerted effort to lie every day. It's just sort of like a lie that just fermented for 2.5 years.
It's one of those things where it's like it's such a big lie. Like I don't even know what you would relate that to in like terms of other size lies. Like because it's not just like something silly, but it's not like to the extent of like I hid cheating from you for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
But like it's kind of almost at that level in my head. Like
It is like just a weird thing. Like, why did you not just come to me and say I couldn't do it?
Like it's not gonna come up
And
again
also,
probably.
The only
but-
reason this even happened at Thanksgiving was because of him.
right.
If you didn't lie and say she was my actual aunt, then they wouldn't have been so freaked out when they found out they were dating.
Yeah, I think I'd need him to just take ownership of it.
Yeah.
And then I'd be chilling more.
It's the fact that he's not owning it that would make me the most upset. Because it's just like, well, you just be mad at them. It's like, no, it's your fault. This is all you. Anyway, one person said, hopefully this will be a funny story one day. Remember the Thanksgiving where your parents didn't know who Rose was? And I don't know if I could ever get there, though. I love him. I thought he was my person. And I don't want to throw it all away, but I need space. If we move forward with the relationship, we will absolutely be going to counseling. Probably a good idea. I told him even if we break up and I don't go, he needs to enter therapy for his conflict avoidance. He didn't disagree. He also called my parents and Rose to apologize. They were civil, but I know they are not happy. Fiance's parents, however, have invited them out to a do-over dinner before they head back to the West Coast. And with my blessing, they're going. It'll be nice if they can be friends after all this. And that's where we are. Everything is so fresh, and I still don't know what I want yet. I'm going to take the holidays to reset and rethink about a lot. Thanks for all the advice. And that is the end of that story.
Crazy.
Okay. Yeah, take your time. Take your time to think about whether you want to be with that guy because he lied to you for 2.5 years.
Yay.
Yeah, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm like, man, the duration.
Yeah.
If
it's
it was
just a
like
long
6
time.
months, I'd be like, okay, maybe.
I can understand
But
it just
man.
getting away from you. Oh, I totally told him, and it's like he meant to that month kind of thing, and he did it that month eventually, but it's like 2.5 years of that.
You had so many opportunities to rip the Band-Aid and just tell your
Because
parents
he wasn't
that.
planning on it. If he ended up with, oh, that's just her aunt, he wasn't planning to tell him ever.
Yeah, I mean, you had to know the days on that were numbered, my guy.
Yeah. Yikes.
But that is the end of that. And we have another story coming up.
I wanted to leave my dependent partner, but I feel guilty seeing him struggle.
Oh, well, he'll get stronger. It's okay.
Context, me, female 25, have been with my partner, male 30, since 2020. We started talking during the vid, and this relationship did not start out how a normal relationship should start. You know, normal dating for a long time before moving in together. By the way, this comes from Strawberry Elegant 764, and if you want to send me your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly,
I'm Dakota.
I'm Keon.
and we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, at the time, my partner and I both worked at the same job, and we hit it off really well. It seemed really too good to be real. He told me he loved me after talking for no more than 1 month. I was living with my grandparents and they were verbally awful, and he was living with a hoarder and had his son coming to this disgusting environment. About 2 months into us talking and sleeping over with him because he refused to come to my house or go out on dates, my grandparents said we can't afford to get the vid and you need to move out so we can protect ourselves. Fair enough, it's their house. My partner at the time convinced me to move in with him at this hoarder's house 3 months into dating, and I agreed to it.
Why did we do that?
During the time that we are here, 8 months, he helps me keep the space in the room clean, no bugs, spent time with me, gave me a lot of attention, became obsessed with me. Looking back, I see the red flags. Then the red flags start.
Looking back, I see the red flags, which is exactly where the red flags begin.
For example, at work, if I didn't reply, he would call my phone until I answered. And if I didn't pick up my phone, he moved on to my job's phone.
Literally, unless that's an actual emergency, I break up with you immediately.
My boss had to disconnect the phone and put my phone up for the shift because of his insistent calling. When I finally went on my lunch break, I went outside and called him back, which in turn turned into us yelling at each other due to the fact that I was at work and couldn't prioritize time to talk to him over his work schedule. My boss pulled me aside and said she was worried for me. This isn't normal behavior, and she didn't think this would end well and that I should leave now. I came up with some bogus excuse and lied that everything was fine, and I went home to him. Slowly, over time, he lost his car due to the transmission going out, and instead of replacing it, he started using my car and convinced me to change my work schedule to accommodate getting him to and from work and getting his son from his mom's and taking him from school and back. Meanwhile, I started taking on more of the house duties, such as laundry, making sure there was food at the house, cleaning, and he started getting back into gaming more on his Xbox. At one point, he went through my phone and blocked and deleted friends he didn't want me talking to because they were toxic and were a bad influence.
So to be
OP.
clear, right? This is the guy where the title of this story was "You're gonna feel bad for him."
Yeah, why are we feeling bad for him?
We don't have to feel bad about this guy at all.
We don't need to feel bad.
No.
I don't think they were that bad, but I'm no longer friends with them. Finally, his and my taxes come in, and we start looking for an apartment, and he gives up, saying, I'm better at finding places and reaching out to people, so I can handle it on my days off. I was able to find a place, and we go and tour the place, and we're accepted to the unit, even get told we can move in early. I bring him to work, and he tells me to go pack and bring stuff back to the house, which I do. I go and pack everything up at the house and bring over a carload of stuff to our apartment, and then I go to Walmart and buy stuff to clean the apartment and get it set up for us to sleep there that night. Flash forward a few weeks of us setting up the apartment, and even though we both have jobs outside of the house, I was the only one who was actually cleaning the house. I mentioned it, and it was becoming the same excuse. He was just cleaning at work, so why would he want to clean at home? I pushed it off and just allowed it because it wasn't that much. Then I quit my job and started door dashing because he convinced me my job was toxic and they were working me too hard. I should have come to this conclusion by myself, which I agree now that job was not good for me mentally. So at this point, I was driving him to work, taking his son to school, and door dashing all day until he was off work. He came home and relaxed on his game, and I would clean and cook dinner, and then I could relax for a bit before going to bed and starting this all over again. Flash forward a month. I was overdriving every day, and he told me I would need to get a work-from-home job so that I could watch his son when he's not in school, so he could work, and so he could have the car to get to and from work. I found a work-from-home job, and I was doing well. At this point, his schedule changed, where he was working in the evening and I was working day shifts, but with him working evenings, I started to hardly ever see him.
All I'm getting, OP, and I know it's hard to see it in the time of the relationship, and of course you see it when it's over. Thankfully, it's over. But all he did was ask, you just replaced his mom. You became his mom, and then also on top of that, all I'm getting as well is he asks you to do something for him, and you comply every time. I want to see when you ask him to do something, does he do it for you? Which I'm assuming.
No, he can't clean at home. He cleans at work.
Yeah, I can only clean in one place at one time.
Yeah. He didn't want to go out on dates and slowly started spending less and less time with me at the house and more time on the game with his friends that he even started reconnecting with. Eventually, I met some friends on Discord, and he got jealous that some of them were male friends, and he wasn't okay with it. I had to let him know they were not interested in me, and it wasn't fair that he could have female friends, but I couldn't have male friends, and he left it at that. Our first Christmas together as a family comes, and I'm the only one who does anything. From making Christmas lists, to decorating the house, to planning Christmas dinner, to buying and wrapping the Christmas presents, including my own. In the past 5 years of our relationship, he has never taken the time to go Christmas shopping for me or to come up with surprises for me around my birthday or Christmas.
And you dealt with this guy for 5 years.
This is insane. He said, if that's something I want, then I need to plan it in order to get it. I tricked myself into thinking that this is okay and that it's normal, and it is not. Now I see that. I remember around Christmas, he and I got into a fight. I can't remember what the fight was about, but all I know is it got really escalated. I feel like I can't discuss anything that hurts my feelings or anything he does wrong without it somehow being flipped and thrown back on me. Back 3 years ago, I reached out to his stepmom and explained that I do all the cooking, all the cleaning, I take care of this household, and he does nothing besides play video games and go to work. He doesn't feel like he has to do anything else because he cleans and cooks at his job. They said no problem, they would call him and discuss this together over the phone. That call happened, and my partner decided to tell them that I was lying and that I was taking things completely out of proportion and that it wasn't entirely true. They took his side, and then the phone call was over. He confronted me and made it crystal clear that I am not to tell anyone about what happens within our relationship, as we need to discuss it between each other, and that was that. He went back to playing his video games, and I haven't felt enough to sit here and tell him about how I feel without the fear of an argument coming out or him not validating any of my feelings and it somehow turning about how I'm painting him out to be the bad guy and that it's not his fault. My close friend has been waiting for me to go out to the bar with her just to have a drink and have a ladies' night. And my partner would never let me go because he said he needed to be there to protect me if something were to go wrong.
Yeah, babe, let me protect you with my stench.
Babe, I can protect you while I play Xbox. So I have to bring the Xbox out to the bars.
It's
so, like,
such a controlling relationship.
I'll protect
This
you
man
by
is
saying-
so manipulative.
I like how he
Yeah,
said-
can't.
he is. He is.
It's a,
It is,
the-
yeah. I was going to say, I like how he's like, we have to talk about it, babe. But first, back to Xbox.
But first, watch this drive.
Yeah. It's not me that he doesn't trust. It's my friends he doesn't trust.
Yeah, it's not you, babe. It's just you're not allowed to have anyone in your life but me.
Insane.
But it's not you.
Because of this, I couldn't go out to the bars with my friends. Anytime I wanted to go anywhere with friends, he had to either come with me or have updates about where I'm going, who I'm with, who is going to be there. He had to track my location so he could know where I am. I used to be this loud, outgoing, confident person, and now I don't feel like I'm that person anymore. I remember I used to ask him to take the trash out because he told me how it's a man's job to take the trash out, and yet he would still sit there and fill the trash up completely and not touch it or take it out. So then I would have to take it out to the trash bin because anytime I asked him to do anything, he would take hours to get it done or would flat out forget and not do it.
Yeah, I don't know. This guy needs to be in a relationship with like a prison work program or something. Like I don't know what this guy needs to get his act together.
To be an adult. And for you to
Dumped.
leave him.
Dump this man.
Yeah.
There were numerous times where I asked him the night before to take out the trash bin to the curb and it never got done. So I stopped asking him to do it because I would rather take it out the night before than rush at 8 in the morning to get the bin to the curb before the trash gets picked up. Fast forward to about 2 years ago when I got pregnant with my daughter. I didn't think you guys were going to have kids. I don't know why I didn't think you would have kids. The entire pregnancy, I still did everything around the house. I cooked, I cleaned, I did the grocery shopping, I moved the entire house around. I got on my hands and knees and scrubbed the floor, and he did nothing. When I finally went into labor, instead of rushing to the hospital or helping me get my bags in the car, he had to take a shower.
Yeah, babe, I had to take a shower so I smell good for all the pretty nurses.
Literally.
In between contractions, I was putting everything last minute in my bag to go to the hospital. Finally, I screamed that I needed to go now. I couldn't do it anymore. He got me in the car and we finally got to the place, and while I was in labor, he went and laid down because he was up for a very long time and was tired until I was ready to push. Then he came over, watched me give birth, and then immediately went and laid back down during the golden hour when I had my daughter laying on my chest.
Oh my god,
We
this
had-
guy's so bad. It's cartoonishly bad.
We had to wake him up when it was his turn to hold her.
Yeah.
Finally, we got back to the room and he passed out and I was left to take care of the baby and myself.
And him.
The next day, he insisted, "It's time to go home." And we were released even though they recommended I stay for 2 days. As soon as we got home, everything resumed like I didn't just give birth. I was still responsible for cleaning the house, cooking dinner, and taking care of the baby.
Oh, man.
He told me if in the middle of the night it was before 4 a.m. to wake him up and he would watch her, but he would never wake up, so I would have to take care of her. In the past year and a half that our little girl has been here, he has never woken up with her in the morning, and when he is awake, he is usually in the bedroom playing video games on his phone or watching TV. He never comes out to the living room to spend time with our daughter or just spend time with his son. He quite literally only goes to work, comes home, plays video games, goes to sleep. And he does it all over again because he does so much physical work at his job. He doesn't because he works at a gas station.
This is insane. OP. OP.
This guy is the final boss of useless men. Oh My God.
What
And
are
this
we
is all
doing?
circling back around to, yeah, and when I leave him, I'm kind of worried. I feel bad. I don't know what he'll do. Yeah, he doesn't know how to do anything except go to a gas station, press an assortment of 5 different buttons, and apparently clean, which he probably doesn't do very well in the first place.
At this point in my life, I'm taking care of his child, our baby. I'm in college full time because I went back to college earlier this year. And I work full time while taking care of every single household chore and planning stuff for the family. I am so mentally exhausted and drained, and I'm unhappy. I am miserable. I don't feel safe opening up about how I feel in my own home because of how controlling he has made my life. I am over being treated the way I am treated. And by the way, you can always treat yourself to more episodes with stories just like this.
Little sweet treat.
Little sweet tweet. So go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. Little sweet tweet.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, and you know what you shouldn't do? Stay with this man.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here. My friends have all told me that they do not want me to marry this man and that I should be running away from him because he's a big red flag. They understand why I never opened up and told them about what was going on because of what he told me not to tell anyone, but they were also upset that I didn't trust them. They're helping me come up with a way to leave him. Yes. So, am I the a-hole for wanting to end my 5-year relationship? I keep overthinking myself, and I feel bad because I know this man is going to be homeless or struggle really badly until he gets back up on his feet because he can't get his stuff together.
Yeah, and somewhere in the jungle, a monkey has gotten a thorn in its paw. Are you going to stop everything and go help that monkey right now? You can't. Sometimes people have to deal with stuff. We all have to deal with things every day. And this guy has literally built this entire situation around himself.
If he needs help, he can go back to stepmom, who was defending him to the very end about not doing anything.
Yeah, or
at that
OP.
point,
If
that point, stepmom, you take him. Take him back. We don't want
If he
him.
wants help, he can do it the old-fashioned way, which is defrauding government programs.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
My boyfriend did nothing but play video games all day.
Dude, what a cool guy.
I'm so PO'd, and I need outside perspective because right now I'm just so frustrated. I, 27 female, left for work at 8:30 this morning and got home at 7:30 this evening. I had told my partner, 28 male, throughout the day that it was a stressful day and let him know when I was leaving work. I have a 1.25 hour, 1 hour and 25 minute drive.
1 and 25.
I have a 1 hour and 25 minute drive home.
No, that's 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, wait, is it?
1.25.
I don't know what they want from me.
Hour and a quarter.
Is that what they're saying? I guess so.
Why don't they just go at like an hour and a half?
I'm just going to say I
'Cause,
have
guys,
little
it was-
over an hour drive
It
home.
was a stressful day.
By the way, this comes from @ordinary5022. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, when I got home 2.5 hours after he ended work, he had been playing Rocket League. I don't know what that is.
You don't know what that is?
All I
It's
ever
soccer, but with cars.
Oh, okay.
But like extreme.
And had ... vacuumed earlier in the morning. And that's it. From my perspective, there were still the litter boxes to scoop so the cat doesn't pee on the floor. The dishwasher needed to be run. That's like the easiest one. He just has to turn it on.
But baby, I can only press buttons if it's game related.
Rocket League.
I can't be wasting my butt. My fingers can only press a certain number of buttons per lifetime.
Laundry needed to be folded and put away. Our sheets were 2+ weeks old and needed to be washed.
That's not true.
And we had basically no groceries in the house. So I did all of those things. He helped fold laundry, but only after I started doing other housework. And I still folded half the laundry. For context, my partner works in tech from home, has no commute, works a normal 9 to 5, and doesn't have to constantly deal with people all day. I work in the behavior field, which consists largely of problem solving almost all day with very few breaks while interacting with many difficult people. I am thinking and planning all day, and that is not an exaggeration. I'm not saying my partner's job isn't work or that he doesn't have hard days sometimes, but I genuinely do not think it's as draining as mine is, at least not on a regular basis. Most days, he doesn't even have to work a full 8-hour day, and he doesn't have a commute. He also doesn't have a car in the winter. His only vehicle is a sports car, which gets put in storage. So there are certain chores I literally have to do because he can't pretty much any errands. We got into a fight because I felt like he checked out of our partnership by putting in the bare minimum after I communicated how late I'd be home. He felt that I should have saved some chores for him.
Did you not have those things you should have done?
That we could do more the next day, and that I should stop stressing about getting it all done when I get home from a long day. He never expects me to make him a list, but he also doesn't like my timeline of completing things. But that's adulthood to me, and we were already playing catch up from being away this weekend. I wasn't causing stress. The stress was coming from things barely being done when he had the time and I didn't. It was a hard day, and I hate when the house is dirty and I can't relax. I also reminded him that someday, when we have kids, there are only going to be more chores that don't wait for his timeline of picking away at them throughout the week. And the work ethic he demonstrated yesterday made me worried he won't be able to handle it or take the initiative. I didn't want to drive 2.5 hours round trip, work an 8-hour day, and come home to act as an unpaid household manager. These are chores I should not have to ask to be done, and I don't want us to have to create a schedule. A schedule doesn't take into account energy fluctuations in our daily lives. I am not expecting him to do all the chores. Of course, I still expect to do my part. But on days where I'm at 10% and communicated that with him, and he's at 80%, I don't want to have to ask him to pick up the slack. I do it for him all the time when our energies are reversed. I also pointed out that there are a number of chores that I do almost exclusively. If I don't clean the bathrooms, wash our sheets, wash the couch cushions, and throw blankets, fully clean the kitchen counters, dust, clean the cat's dishes, or clean out the refrigerator, it's unlikely he'll notice those things and do them.
So you do all of the hard chores.
And he does the video games. For those specific chores, I usually have to point out to him that they need to be done. Also, if I don't plan meals or grocery shop, he can't because he can't go pick them up.
But what kind of car does he have to put it in storage for the winter?
Also,
or like, where
why
do you
even
guys
have that
live?
car?
Is he driving like a priceless heirloom car? And he's like, I can't drive it when it snows.
It's just crazy to have a type of car that you can't drive in the snow when you live in the snow.
Also, my dog, I know you don't want to make a schedule. Make the schedule.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Make the schedule, and then when the energy fluctuations happen, you communicate them, but make the schedule. That's step one.
And to have all these frustrations turned around on me and be told, you're just stressing yourself out. I got pissed and slept on the couch. So, am I the a-hole for getting so angry over a one-day chores issue, or was it a valid reaction?
What's that?
Oh, you were not angry enough.
And I'm not interested in the just break up comments. He's an incredible partner in so many other ways, and every couple has their things to work on. I'm not looking for an easy out. I just want to know if my reaction was unreasonable. We've got more story, but what do you think?
I think you just need to make a schedule.
Yeah.
And you had a bad day. You had a bad day and you need to make a schedule. And then there's no reason that he can like forget, or like he literally was like, you need to save some chores for me. It's like, dude, there's plenty.
There's so many.
Here's the list of stuff to do. If me have long day, you have short day, you do some more stuff.
Yep, that's kind of it.
Here's the sketch.
Figure it out. Duh.
I wouldn't even have done the chores when you got home. I would have been like, "What? Do you want to do chores? Do all of this."
Yeah.
Yeah,
all
it
your
sucks that you do it now,
chores.
but like now you can do it.
Yeah, because it's not fair for you to have to say every time what he needs to do. But if you just have that list of chores, and maybe, I don't know, you check off or whatever whenever you finish something, then he knows what's left. That's the solution there. Edit. The following story refers to only the one time. People are assuming this is what it's like when I come home every day. I would like to clarify that this was an odd day, not the norm. I'm asking if I overreacted and acted like an a-hole, or if I'm valid for my mini crash out. I'm not asking if he's a horrible partner, and if I should leave him. Also, neither of us were yelling. We both just said some really blunt things with an irritated tone. We don't do yelling, name-calling, belittling, degrading, any of that. It's not us. My idea of a fight is when we don't resolve the issue that night. And there is an update. Let's get to it. Woohoo! Yikes! The number of people who feel it's reasonable to judge my entire 4-year relationship based on one post written in the heat of frustration is kind of sad.
Hey, it's
That's
just
Reddit.
it's just what we do.
That's
Literally,
Reddit. Yep.
you shouldn't have wrote it then.
I was gonna say you came to one of the worst spots.
You came to the land of breakup, get divorced.
When our lives are running on a usual schedule, he does his 50-50 of normal daily chores. I don't routinely have to ask him to do laundry, dishes, or vacuuming on a normal basis. We do those on a natural schedule pretty evenly. I had a conversation with him this evening as partners. He apologized for how he made me feel yesterday, and we both discussed our perspectives. His side is that he knows all the things that need to be done in the house. He just has a different threshold for when is too dirty, and they need to be done. So before he even realizes that I consider them dirty, I'm already doing them. I will admit that I have a higher clean standard than most people. I grew up in a very tidy house and have definitely carried some of that into my adult life. It's not so bad that it's a mental illness, it's just higher than I think the average person's is. We agreed that we would settle on a general frequency for all chores and check in with each other daily before I leave work, communicate what our capacities are.
Bro, just make the why is the reluctance to make this is the easiest
Chore chart.
schedulable thing of all time. It's whatever everyone does this.
Chore chart.
Everyone
Chore.
does that.
He said he's okay with that, even if there are a lot of days where my capacity is much lower than his. That way, if one of us is feeling super low capacity, the other knows where they need to pick up the slack without the other having to explicitly tell them what to do. Thank you to the People's
Thank you to the People's Counselor.
The People's Counselor, Reddit. Thank you to the Couples Counselor who commented that we should establish a baseline and communicate when one of us is not able to meet that baseline. Someone asked, and it was a totally fair point, but I did just accept my current job in July. My previous job was about 25 minutes away from home. So since July, there have been some spicy hobbies to work out in a dynamic that was previously stable for 2 years. Oh, kinks. I'm a lot more tired than I used to be. When we moved in together 2.5 years ago, he definitely wasn't doing 50-50 for even the basic chores. He was used to his own routine of when to do things, and it took him some time to adapt to living with someone who had a different routine and expectation. He has since formed a lot of new habits he did not have before because he does care about how he makes me feel. It honestly took him about 6 months to a year to work that out, and we are only 5 months into my new job. So to those who jumped right to, he'll never change, that's ludicrous.
You say it like it took him this long to figure it out, but it's like, how long did it take you to be clear about what your expectations were?
Yeah.
Because it feels like your whole vibe is that it's like, well, I shouldn't have to say anything and he should be able to read my mind.
I think we just need more communication about this before it just bubbles over. He's already made a lot of changes and is completely willing to continue to do so, but change doesn't happen all at once, not if you don't communicate about it.
You gotta pick one. Communicate or don't.
Yeah, but
and
that's
nothing
your
changes.
options, especially when it involves skills and habits that take time to develop. We also discussed how we approach the return to regular life after a trip. I like to play catch up all at once because the house makes me uncomfortable when we're super behind. He likes to pick away at chores more slowly, knowing we'll be caught up and back on our natural cycle within 3 to 4 days. I told him that leaves me uncomfortable in our home for several days, and he agreed that one day with both of us doing extra chores is less uncomfortable to him than my discomfort from being behind on things that make our space feel dirty. The last thing we discussed was our differences in job fields. He acknowledged that his job is less demanding, and while it's equally as valid as a successful career, and I'm not taking that away from him, it does leave him with an overall higher capacity and more free time than mine.
So that's why we don't want to do the schedule, because we don't think the schedule would be fair to us.
Yeah, when I got this from the beginning of the story where Opie's like, he works from home, I work with people, he gets to just chill at home all day, I have to work with people, and like I have to drive 2 hours away, it's not fair.
Then you just make the schedule fair.
Yeah.
You would just have less and he would have more.
Yeah.
He admitted he could definitely afford to spend more of his downtime during and after his workday doing things to be helpful to the whole household.
Bingo.
By the way, you can help the whole story time by listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to
Arple.
Just go to
Just go to iHeartRadio, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts and search up OK Storytime. There's a little bit left to this story. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, this is always works well on all women. Relax. Just chill out, dude.
Have you thought about not doing this?
Yeah, have you thought about being chill. No, I'm sorry. On a real level, it sounds like you guys have a pretty healthy overall relationship.
Yeah.
But that you just need to, probably put it all on the table a little bit
Yeah.
and be like, hey, I feel like your job is easier than mine. I feel like that means you could do more chores than me.
Or maybe not even easier, but just say like less time consuming.
Yeah.
And then you got to work from there. Because if he's like, no, you can't just be like, well, you're the devil.
Yeah, you got to find a way to have a honest communication conversation without having an argument.
I don't know. From what I've gotten from OP, the boyfriend's pretty just like, yeah, you just need to tell me.
He literally, yeah, he's just like, okay.
Leave some chores for me. It's like she just does all of them and it's like, why didn't he do this?
And he's like,
I didn't tell him to do it.
like not defending it, but he's just like, I'm boy, I'm dumb.
He should know how to do it, but
He
like
should.
also if you want to be with him and have a lasting relationship,
I think he probably does know how to do it. Like, I know how to make my bed. My threshold for needing to make my bed is very high.
Thank goodness.
My girlfriend's threshold for making her bed is
Immediately.
literally microscopic. Like, I'm talking like getting into bed at the end of the day, but making the bed right before.
bed got to be made. I didn't used to make my bed all the time, but
It's a good
since
habit.
moving in here like, 2 years ago, I make it every day.
I do it sometime.
Point being, I had one. Where'd it go?
You have a bed.
Dakota's going to find that point.
I just gotta wash my sheets.
Overall, I would say that I feel my frustrations from yesterday are valid, and he fully acknowledges that, but my approach was not exactly based on respectful communication or collaboration. We both agree that we conversed in ways we were not proud of when tensions were high, but today we returned to our roots of respectful and clear communication that's solution-oriented. He cares a lot and knows where he needs to pay a little closer attention, and I know that there are ways to clearly communicate my capacity to cue him to take on more than his usual contribution without making me feel like I have to give him instructions like a manager. Seems like you guys figured out something.
Why is it that you're like, maybe it's job related? It's like, I have to give him instructions like a manager.
Well, I think that's how, OP's been doing in the past. He's like, I don't know what to do. And she's like, okay, this, and it's not being done.
If y'all have completely different standards of what is a mess, then you need to give him instructions because he literally does not see the problem.
I was also gonna say, y'all, they've been dating for like 4 years, 2, or they've been living together for like 2 years?
maybe they've been living together for 2
Okay,
years.
even if you're living together for 2 years, you should know your partner's standards of cleaning. And yeah, it shouldn't be like you should meet their standards or they should meet yours, but you should have a compromise of like, okay, let's make this at least comfortable for everyone here, kind of thing.
I think, well, no, I could still improve. Let's be real. My best friend growing up was a hoarder. Or not a hoard. Well, I guess, we were teenagers, so he was not anything yet, but his house was a hoarded house. Not to the level of like what you see on TV, but like, yeah, there's mess.
Yeah.
And so I, over the course of many years, was just accustomed to this. Like, there's a mouse in Sophia's house. There was a mouse in his house. We named it
What was his name?
Fred.
It's, you know what? I have a lot of sympathy for people who have mice in their house.
Fred the
It's
mouse.
really hard to get rid of this mouse.
I slept down there in that basement. That mouse, we played Halo 3.
Nice.
It's really hard to get rid of these mice.
Looking back on it, I'm like, whoa, do I have black lung now because of that? Like, it was gross. It was gross.
What was your point in all of that?
That, like, sometimes people have different tolerances for what a mess is.
But we've got another story, folks, and we're going to get into it.
My boyfriend said I had to earn my engagement ring, so I left him.
Now you gotta earn her back, dude.
Last night, my boyfriend, 24 male, and I, 23 female, were talking about our future. We've been together for 4.5 years. I'm not asking to get engaged right now, but I wanted to talk about where things are headed. By the way, this comes from Neat Establishment 62. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I am Savannah.
I'm Carly.
I'm Dakota.
And we are here to give some good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers in our little tiny baby brains. We would only tell you what we would do in this situation, but we would love to know what you would do in your big baddie brains.
Big old brains.
In the comments. As Opie says, we got onto the topic of engagement rings. I mentioned that I think a ring should reflect serious intention and commitment, and that traditionally people talk about rings being something you save for.
I want to be clear that I'm not expecting him to go broke, just that it should be something meaningful and planned for. He then told me that I would need to earn an engagement ring. I honestly thought he was joking at first, but he wasn't. When I asked what he meant, he said, "What do you do for me in this relationship?" Whoa. I want to throw this phone. That triggered something in me. What makes you think you deserve an expensive ring? This next part is going to annoy some people, but I asked ChatGPT if I should be alarmed by a comment like this, and obviously it told me yes, and listed off reasons why this comment is problematic. I read it off to him, and he told me, "Are you just going to effing ask ChatGPT everything? Get the F out of here with that." I left without another word and drove home. It's now the next day, and I still haven't heard from him at all. These comments really shook me and hurt me deeply. I feel that my relationship and how I thought my boyfriend feels about me are figments of my imagination. My question: how would you respond or set boundaries after a comment like this in a long-term relationship? We got an edit/update here. Firstly, I want to thank everyone for the advice. As harsh as some may be, I need to hear it. I used ChatGPT because I was being told repeatedly that I was overreacting and wanted an outside perspective. It helped me put words to why the comment felt wrong. That's all. As far as the cost of the ring, this was never about the price. It was about how commitment was framed and being told I had to earn it. As for what happened afterwards, this is what I sent him. I've had time to think about what you said last night and how the conversation ended. Being told I need to earn commitment and being spoken to the way I was changed how I feel about this relationship. You telling me what you did makes me feel like I am wasting my time in this relationship and you do not want to marry me. This has also been part of a continued pattern for months. I don't feel respected or valued anymore, and I don't want to continue in a relationship where my worth is questioned. I've decided it's best for me to end things. Goodbye. This was his response, which went unanswered. What's wrong is the way you demand things.
Oh my god.
Example, a % of monthly income for a ring, and then go and ask stupid butt ChatGPT if I'm a red flag. That's only the icing on the cake because I am asked for crap every day and get you everything I can. I do a lot of crap for you, and I truly feel it goes unnoticed and always feels like I'm not enough. I honestly feel like your dang servant, and I'm tired of that crap. Gifts, presents, rings should be appreciated, not expected. And you don't appreciate anything I do, and that's how I feel. Then you want to ask ChatGPT if I'm the red flag? Look in the mirror. So here's another question. What do you guys think about this?
So I am now curious if she demanded he put a % of his income aside for this ring, because I do disagree with that.
Yes. I think it should be something you work towards together, maybe. But also if he is the breadwinner, I understand why she would ask that of him.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, hey, we do want some. We are saving up for this, right? Type of thing. If it was a forced thing, you need to set aside, whatever, la la la.
But I feel like it would still kind of come down to hey, if we're planning to get engaged, maybe just being here's what I like. This is kind of what I would like to wear on my hand forever. Suggestions. And then you gotta just kind of let him save for it.
Yeah, I feel like his response was rude. I think he could have explained it better. I think she was.
It felt like a weird breaking point, though.
Yes. It felt like we've had this conversation before. I'm tired of having it, and this is how I feel. If you're gonna go to ChatGPT and type in your crap, I'm gonna give you what I actually think because I'm a human being, and I'm gonna give it to you real, and then it's gonna be all rude. And then she's like,
I think it was
ChatGPT help.
It was good y'all broke up.
Yeah. So
Yay.
that's what I think. Thought I should share this depressing detail. Oh, when he told me, "What do you do for me?" I told him, "Don't we love each other, make each other happy, and have lots of fun together?" And he was still trying to argue his point to me. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to agree with everyone in the fact that, yes, it seems he has been red-pilled and or influenced by his coworkers. Thank you, everyone, for all the support on my very first Reddit post. Wish me luck on my future endeavors. And there are some comments. Comment number 1. If I was told that and no further in-depth conversation happened, I'd walk away. That's self-centered thinking followed by a shutdown of communication. What do you do for me in this relationship? What does he do for you? Ask both questions, not just one of them. Comment number 2 says, girl, is that how you want to be treated and spoken to forever? He should have been gone like yesterday. You deserve better. Know your worth. Punt him to the curb and don't look back. Comment number 3 says, he's 24 and I assume he benefits from consistent spicy sleep and companionship. Based on this, his response and no apology / follow-up message, it's safe to say he has no intention of getting married to you. He's also disrespectful. I would exit the relationship. Comment number 4. So you have been with someone for 4.5 years, and when in a serious discussion about future plans, his reply is that you have to earn your engagement ring? He implies that you want him to buy you jewelry that you didn't earn. You attempt to bring the discussion back to 2 adults talking like grown-ups, and he tells you to get the F out. By the way, we'll never tell you to exit, because you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Go to iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, or your favorite podcast app, and search up OK Storytime. Comment 5. I'd say there's no saving or fixing this. If you need to earn an engagement ring, then what else do you need to earn? A wedding? Children? His love? There is no earning something like that in a relationship, especially when you stated it doesn't need to be expensive, but something thoughtful and planned. My engagement ring was around $200, which I know isn't cheap, but not exactly the most expensive ring out there either. That is
so cheap. That is so cheap. I really thought when she was like, and you'll have to save a percentage of your earnings every month, that it was going to be like thousands kind of thing, like in the high thousands.
Yeah.
$200 is the price, is less than some regular rings, less than some regular jewelry.
Yeah, that's
like nothing.
That's like a really, really nice meal for like 3.
Yeah, no, literally.
You know what I'm saying?
Though,
You know what I'm saying?
Just a funny way to put that. A really nice meal for 3.
We can bring back in the guy with the open relationship. Oh, it was the girl with the open relationship. They're invited too. And it was perfect because it was thoughtful. Included rubies and a moonstone, which is not only my birthstone, but my favorite gems. And it was absolutely beautiful.
She didn't even want a diamond.
Moonstone with ruby.
Oh,
Actually,
Moonstone,
like,
turn
really
the
pretty.
Eevee into Umbreon. Oh,
Are those
Turn the Eevee into Umbreon.
are
Pokemon.
Those, are those durable rings though, like on the hard scale?
On the Mohs hardness scale,
Yeah.
No, I mean
Because
rubies
they-
are up there.
Rubies
Rubies are
are
pretty hard.
But I
Rubies are
thought
better than
moonstones
Moonstone.
were.
Moonstone, it's like
it's gonna chip pretty
it's
easily.
like a
Think about
tiger's
this,
eye
people, when
or-
you pick out what ring you want to wear forever. What is a hard gem?
I know a guy who paid $500 for a ring off of Etsy, which is also where we bought mine, for his now wife, and she picked it out himself. If you really want to stay, which I don't recommend, then pick out some rings for yourself and show him them. Whether they're expensive or not, give him an idea on what you want because ring prices vary a lot. But again, screw him. You shouldn't have to earn your ring. Being in a relationship where you love each other is enough. I do say the ChatGPT thing is petty and definitely shouldn't be used for arguments, but I also somewhat understand. Sometimes I need others to word things for me because I'm so upset I can't put my thoughts into words. And I'm assuming ChatGPT was just doing that for you. That's exactly what I use it for. Ha! And that's the end.
My fiance got me a questionable gift, so I walked out.
What was the gift?
The only thing that I'll admit is that I'm black, 26 female, and my fiance is Caucasian, 27 male, and he works in the tech industry. I'll call him Dave. By the way, this comes from Temporary Snow 989, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm John.
I'm Newt C. Racker, or you can call me Cheeky. I'm an elf.
I'm Riley.
And
You just go, Riley.
Riley.
Riley, yay.
Tinky Winky. And
Riley.
we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers, so we only know what we do. So let us know what you would do in the comments below. Dave and I decided to spend our Christmas with his parents. 3 brothers and their spouses. Dave got a huge bonus this year and told me he was going to go all out for me this year to make up for the past Christmases where we couldn't really afford anything. He asked me what I wanted, and I said I wanted a popular fuzzy bag that was making the rounds on social media. We opened up all the gifts on Christmas Eve. One of my sister-in-laws got a fur coat, the other an air fryer that she really wanted, etc., etc. When it came to my turn, Dave handed me his phone. I looked and thought I was going to see a tracked package for the bag. Instead, all I saw was an art picture of monkeys that was supposed to look like me. I asked him what this was, and he said that that was my gift. He then started explaining to me how he had gotten into investing earlier this year and had saved up to buy it for me. He then showed his family, who were just as flabbergasted as I was. I asked him how much money he invested into this. He said $8,000. Everyone started laughing, which made Dave mad and made me even more embarrassed. One of his brothers even brought up the point about how it was poor taste to give a monkey picture to your black fiance. Dave asked me if I was ever going to defend him. I was so humiliated at that point, I just got up and locked myself in the bathroom for a good cry. An hour later, I called myself an Uber and booked a hotel until I could make it back home. Dave called me and said that I was the a-hole for bringing down the mood in his family's house and for being materialistic. I told him all I wanted was a $200 bag, and he spent $8,000 on a monkey picture. He told me that he was investing in our future together and that I just couldn't see his vision.
I guess I'm blind. I guess we're blind, John.
Yeah. I'll admit, there were better ways I could have gone about reacting to the gift, and I do feel guilty about totally running off like that without any warning, but I was completely uncomfortable with the situation and did not feel like staying around to be laughed at. So, am I the a-hole here, my good friend? What say you? Is Opie the a-hole here?
No.
That is correct.
Clear as day, no.
Clear as day. And why not, pray tell, Mr. Newt?
Your fiance is an idiot.
Yep.
This just showed you how dumb your fiance is. He's also racist.
Yep.
Remember when you said blatantly, oh, all I want is this for Christmas? One thing. And he didn't even get it. It's so simple.
This man misses the mark on everything it's hard to believe.
The fact that his family also called him out, like his brothers were like,
yes,
dude, what are you doing? That's
Yes.
bad taste, and that's just bad. And we're also gonna laugh at your gift. You spent $8,000 on that, idiot.
Everyone said that OP was not the a-hole, thank God, and we have an update. Before I start, I'd like to clear up a few things. Some people were suspicious about the fact that I knew what a throwaway account was. If I've never been on Reddit, I called it a throwaway account to warn people not to follow it because after this update, I'm probably not going to use it anymore. Second, some were weirded out by the fact that I didn't say the name of the bag in my post. I didn't think it was necessary, and I did say I was going to be vague, but for those who wanted to know, it was the Telfer X UGG bag. I don't know what Dave is going to do with the NFT. I told him that he bought it, so it's up to him, whatever he wants to do with it. I just didn't want to see it. He said he's not going to sell it and will delete the wallet and eat the cost.
No.
Why are we eating? Have you not remembered the past how many years we've been together and we've been stressing out about, like, we can't even get each other gifts on the holidays, like really nice ones, and now you gotta
Just sell it. Don't delete it. That makes it worse.
No, I'm not going to sell this account. I don't know why people thought this was a karma grab when all I asked for was a judgment. I didn't think many people would even care about this, to be honest. So we're moving on to the story, the real update.
Okay.
Dave reached out to me on the 2nd asking if he could come over to the hotel to talk, and I agreed. The first thing out of his mouth was an apology. He said he wouldn't make any excuses and that he believes he was for sure in the wrong. He said that after I left, his entire family yelled at him to make things right with me and that he missed me. The first thing I asked him was why he bought me the picture and not the bag. He said that at first he did try to buy me the bag, but it was sold out. He didn't know what else to get, but he knew I liked to draw and had a fascination with art history. He admitted that his tech buddies also got their significant others customizable NFTs, and it sounded like a good idea at the time. He also acknowledged that he was worried about the racial connection towards it, but his friends showed him the black celebrities that also bought the same NFTs, so they said he was good. I then asked him why he was upset with me and accused me of bringing down the mood when we last talked. He said that his brothers always made fun of him for getting a job in the tech field and he thought they were just doing it again by dragging me into it. It was also because he had sunk $8K into a gift that everybody laughed at. He said his anger was badly misplaced and that he was mad with his brothers for fanning the flames and not me. I told him that I was very upset at him calling me materialistic and said it hurt that he thought of me that way. He admitted that he said that in anger and was sorry he ever said it because he knew it wasn't true. At the time, he thought I was upset at the fact that I couldn't show off a physical gift like my sister-in-law's. Just another example, 803 on why you don't get it, and this relationship needs to be over immediately. He said that if he could take it all back, he would. By the way, if you want to take back the fact that you haven't listened to like 3,000 episodes, you can go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcast app, and listen to them all, and then you'll never have to take that back. So check us out. Anyways, he also said that me leaving him made him think that he'll do anything to save what we have.
I don't know. You should have started off with not buying a racist picture.
Yeah.
Or, buying an $8,000 NFT.
Yeah, not listening to me, or then shaming me further after giving me this racist gift. Yeah.
And now you're giving me lame excuses. Just take the L.
And
be like, okay, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Really dumb on my part.
But
That's
you know what the
it.
tragic thing is? Even if he takes the L, he doesn't get.
No, he does not get. Yeah.
He lost the plot. We've been together for 10 years, and he does not want to imagine a future without me. That one.
Oh my god. This guy's just going with the flow. He actually has no common sense.
Oh, boy.
10 years and he doesn't know what to get you?
I know that a lot of people were telling me to leave, but in those 9 days that we were apart, my only concern was how to fix this and not to break it further. I told Dave I forgave him and that I still wanted to get married. I admitted to him that I posted here for judgment, and he felt bad because he believes that I should never think of myself as the a-hole for a minute. He ended up getting me a makeup gift, I'm going to mispronounce this probably, 2 Ohuhu sketchbooks and their 320-piece marker set that I had my eye on. Okay, so no major blowout happened. We talked, made up, and had a happy ending for both of us.
10 years is a huge investment of your time, energy, your life. After the big mumble jumble, I would have broken up with him, but I don't know. It's just so rough.
Right?
Because it just shows like, man, he's clueless, but he better learn his lesson from here on out. If he does it again, I'm done with him. I am a person for second chances. This was a really big F up. If my partner did this to me, it's just like a failure as a partner.
Dude,
to have
after 10 years.
0 common sense, 2, be racist towards me.
Yeah.
It's hard to get back from that. I wouldn't be so apologetic. I'm sorry. I would have broken up.